Okay, it should be live right now.
What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Dre. Ah, fuck no, I should not start out like that. But yeah, streaming with Turbo BP. I don't know if you guys have heard of me. I'm a relatively new BP channel that popped up in January. I started my channel because I was just frustrated, right? I was just in a bad mood and I had no one to talk about it with. I tell normies about this stuff. They'd be like, "Oh, bro, it's your personality, bro." And I was just frustrated, which is why I made this channel. Yeah, so I'm pretty lucky to be with Turbo BP today. We're just gonna shoot the breeze, talk about different topics, and yeah.
Okay, so you said that you started your channel to vent about your personal life, kind of like DBDR and things.
DBDR. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you said you talk about the black pill with normies.
Yeah, I tried. Didn't go too well.
Yeah, well, the other day, I was conversing with some normies, and the topic of like brain rot came up, right? And they were dropping all these brain rot terms and like asking people if they know what they mean. So they talked about looksmaxing, edging, canthal tilt, and
Cancel tilt.
yeah, I told them that they like voice mog and height mog me, and I don't know, it seemed to go like neutral because these terms are like mainstream now. So like it's
Right.
crazy that they know what height mog means and that it's not even that weird. It's still kind of weird, but not like not much of a social faux pas to say that someone mogs.
I think you'll find that like most people in Gen Z, like, our age, like 20, 19, 18, 21, they all admit to a degree that looks do play a key role. They're not as clueless as like boomers who are like, "Oh, it's all about your money, it's all about your the way you carry yourself." I feel like our generation kind of understands the importance of looks, but even then it's not to the level that like you and I would understand it. You don't
Mhm.
understand the surgery maxing and stuff like that. So for better or for worse, they do kind of understand.
Yeah. Um, so wait, when you say like, it's about X, right? Say like boomers say it's about your personality, it's about your money. Are you talking about just dating or like everything in life?
I really do think that everything comes down to your genetics. Let's put it this way. What a 5'3" guy with like a terrible face. Like he could never be a frat boy, right? Like I was very close to joining a frat my first year of college, and I just wouldn't fit in. I know for a fact I wouldn't fit in. So I think it's more than just dating. Like rehab really opened my eyes to all of that. He was like, it's not just about dating, it's about all aspects of life. And I for the longest time I thought it was just dating, but really it's about everything. I've looks maxed to I was like a 2 out of 10 my freshman year of high school. And I'd say I'm like a 4 now. And even those 2 bumps up have netted me a lot more respect at work, besides the week I worked at Starbucks. But other than that, like, I work in a hospital now, and I see that, even the other women there, they respect me a lot more. They're open to teaching me things and stuff. So, really, I think it comes down to looks for everything. I think looks are the most important currency in our world, regardless of where you're applying it to, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Um,
Someone said my life became better when I wore a mask. You talk about mask fishing? That that's
yeah.
yeah, no. I
Nah,
think
my
we
friend
all
were into me when she took off her glasses. So yeah, brutal. Just be a blob, man. Just be a blur.
a
Um,
blur.
yeah. So you said you look smacks from like a 2. Are you serious about that rating?
I don't know, I might be a bit hyperbolic. I'd say I was a very solid 3. Like, if I looked at, like, old pictures of myself, sometimes Google or, like, Snap will, like, "Oh, memories from 6 years ago." I'll look back on it. I look like a the best way I can explain it is my head kinda looked like an Apple HomePod. Like it looked like an Apple HomePod, like the speaker that Apple produced for
Mhm.
like 2 years. It looked like that. It was like a weird cylinder shape. But yeah, after looksmaxing, I've kind of gone from an Apple HomePod to like an Apple HomePod with like nicer features, and I've definitely seen an improvement. I wouldn't say I was like a 1 out of 10, but I definitely wasn't good looking, if that makes sense. I would say maybe like a 2 or 3 was what I started out with my genetics.
Yeah. Um, okay, yeah, so that reminds me, because I watched your response to Think Before You
Rehab.
Sleep, Critique of Rehab Room.
Yeah.
And you said that discovering the BP impacted you positively because it motivated you to look smacks and that improved your life.
Yeah, like people have this weird opinion of BPers. They all think we're like these doomsday Armageddon type folk who just sit in our room all day and we're like, "Oh, society's gonna collapse. It's the end of the world, man. We're all gonna die, and looks are everything. You can't trust people." I'm a very normal person. Like I'm a very I wouldn't say I'm a normal person. I wouldn't say that, but I I no, I completely take that back. I'm not a normal person at all, but I'm not I'm not some like weirdo who just, is obsessed over looks and is like depressed all the time. I think I think that the BP, yeah, I think it's all about looks, but I'm still a generally happy person. I'd say I still like know how to get along with people and stuff like that. I don't think the BP is necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. I think it is the fundamental part of society is just like looks and stuff. But yeah, I don't have the scripts. I'm just completely rambling. But yeah, I don't think BPers are necessarily like these miserable cretins who just stay in their room all day and just complain about how society's gonna collapse. I just think that looks are the key to life, and I'm totally fine with that. Like I don't see an issue with that at all. I don't think it's a bad thing per se. Yeah, just rambling, but still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have had the opposite experience. Since discovering BP, like I have
Mhm.
been like it has not made me more motivated to self-improve. And I think I would have been better off if I didn't find out about the BP.
Mhm.
Not for like not like never in my life, but um I think the best outcome would be if I found out about the BP after I improve to the point where like I have my finances in order, I have like good habits, good routine, all of that self-improvement stuff. Once I get that down, then, knowing about the importance of looks and genetics wouldn't mess up my life that much, right? Um, but I think there are a lot of guys who fall down the BP rabbit hole, so to speak, when they are in a very poor state mentally. And I think that the mindset that like RP self-improvement sort of promotes would like unironically be healthier for them. What do you think about that?
So you think the RP would be better? You think it's a more positive thing or a more motivating thing? Is that what you're trying
Well,
to
not
get at?
not for everyone. Um, because there are examples such as yourself and Wheat Waffles who discovered the BP and it just made them more motivated to improve their looks and they improved their dating lives and everything. Um, but the thing is that so many BPers in the community, they try to act like that's most black pillars, right? Because it's like a response to when like blue pillars and red pillars criticize black pillars and they say, oh, black pillars are all just like they just don't go outside, they're all just like depressed, miserable, they just complain a whole lot, they don't try, they're just like give up, go home. So black pillars, they don't like that negative characterization of the community, so they will respond and say, oh, no, 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 I took the black pill and I improved. Look, he took the black pill, he looks maxed, he improved, he got a girlfriend. And but the truth is that there are a lot of black pillars that actually are the type of people that the blue pillars are talking about. And we don't want to admit it because it makes us look bad.
Yeah.
And I am that type of guy. um, somewhat, like I'm actually quite grateful that my mental health is not as bad as many other black pillars. But I think I'm like kind of a negative person.
I I think the BP is what you make it, right? Like again, coming back to that whole like religious allegory of Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever. Let's take something else. You could be like a super religious person that thinks that, everything is based off of God or something like that. And that could really negatively impact you. But I choose to look at the BP in a positive way. Like when I first discovered it, it all just clicked, right? Like it all just made so much sense to me, and I'm just a naturally very, like, inquisitive, competitive person, so I put all my eggs all my eggs into that metaphorical basket, which is looks. I've, spent a lot of money, back when I had money on improving my looks, whether it be, let's see, skincare, very basic soft maxes, I'd say, like, fillers, that kinda stuff, and it really improved my life because I'd always waste my time watching those stupid videos that were like, "Oh, do this one trick and get any girl to fall in love with you," and I that yeah, no, I was addicted to those videos when I was 14,
Dude,
and
same.
I
I
was like
watched that shit when I was like a freshman in high school.
and it got me nowhere, yeah, so when I figured out the BP, when I started improving my looks, that's when I saw a positive improvement in my interactions with people. So really, I think the BP is what you make it. It's not a negative thing at all. I think it's just a better way of thinking that I've adopted into my life, and I've only seen positives from it, to be honest. It just explains everything. It just makes so much sense to me, and I love it for that. I think it's an answer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It will. I mean, there are some like hard realities, like a 5'3" guy with a terrible face. He has like a underbite. He's balding. I don't know. Like that guy is not going to be a frat bro. He's not going to be the guy who's like the life of the party at the club. No,
Exactly.
I think that it applies to women too. Like a woman who has a really ugly face she's just not gonna be like the sorority sister, party girl,
Exactly.
Instagram model. She just can't be it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I have seen too many exceptions of like because the black pill community doesn't just like focus on those examples, right? They also they see like a sub 5 guy, like a 4 out of 10, um, like can't get laid or some. Um, and I absolutely agree that, the uglier you are, the worse you have it. And if you're sub 5, then dating is like it's gonna be quite tough. It's gonna be a struggle. Um, but in my life, I've gotten butt hurt because I've seen like guys who are sub 5 who according to like most black pillars shouldn't be getting the results that I see them getting. And then I'm pissed off by that because it contradicts, you know, how I've been told the world works by the
Give
black
me, give me an example. I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to see what you mean by that.
um so like I went to this like well it's like it's an organization. It's like a university club pretty
Yeah.
much. And
Yeah.
it's like a Christian organization, right? And it's
Hmm.
so like the type of people there are it's not like they don't have sex, but it's like the less of the party type of people, you know what I mean?
Oh
But
yeah,
so I
100%.
went to like a pool party that they had, which is not like, it's not like typical college party. Like there's no alcohol at it. It's just like an event. We played volleyball in the pool, right?
Correct.
Um, so I was like alone, like by myself. I was like mingling with them, but I wasn't really close to anyone, right? But there were like guys who were just like 5 out of 10 and like 4 out of 10. There were guys who were like high body fat, below average looks guys, like 4 out of 10 low tier normies, who were having like who were like intimately, I don't know if it's that intimate, but they were like I mean like up against the girls. Basically, they were like touching the girls in in a way that I have not been able to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's black pillars. So many black pillars say that if you're like a 4 out of 10, then you can't even get, you just can't get anything. It's just like,
Right.
um, and it is true that there are a lot of guys who are struggling, like statistically, like in university, a pretty high percentage of men have not had intimacy in the past year.
Mhm.
But there are also like there are also it's not a tiny number of guys who still get intimacy even though they're sub 5, from my experience. That was a long ass ramble. So
No, 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 you're good. I'm very glad you brought up the 4 out of 5 or the 4 out of 10 guys who are high body fat. I will say this, I think the BP does distort your view of reality a lot. Like, I think one thing the BP has negatively impacted me with is it just doesn't let me, like, I just don't feel the urge to try any game, anything like that anymore because don't think it's I don't think there's a point to it, right? But I do think all those RP, all those RP tenets that they practice where, you talk to people and stuff like that. I think what you should do is looks max and then go learn very basic game, like learn how to talk to girls and stuff like that. I think you have to I think if you're sub 8, you have to be that guy that approaches. You can't just wait for them to come to you. And that is the fatal flaw I've always made is I kinda expect my looks to speak for me, but the truth is they don't. If you're sub Sean O'Pry, let's just put it that way. If you're sub Chico, if you're sub Sean O'Pry, you gotta put in the work. And, those and coming back to that example of those guys you were talking about who were up against the girls, you don't know what the girls think. They might find those guys extremely annoying. They might find them irritating. Just because you see them talking to girls doesn't mean anything. I saw like this complete sub 5, terrible looking guy talking to a girl that I find really attractive, like this really pretty goth girl, for lack of a better term. And at first I got kind of annoyed. I'm like, wait, why is that guy walking with her? And I wasn't like it just didn't make sense in my head. But then I realized he could just be an orbiter. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They might find those guys very annoying. Just because they're talking to them, just because they're entertaining them doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything at all. So, I mean, I think that might explain those high body fat guys you were talking about. They could just be friends. That guy could just be an orbiter. You have no idea. So, you don't actually know how sexually active they are for for lack of a better term, if that makes sense. Yeah.
okay, yeah, you brought up a fair point, but okay, so here's where my viewpoint differs from like the average black pillar, and this is gonna make a lot of my audience call me a simp, or think that I'm really down bad. But um, okay, in your think before you sleep rehab room response video, you
Yeah.
showed the clip that think before you sleep. I'm just gonna call him Think. So you showed the clip of the Asian dude like doing that magic trick with the Sharpie
Yes.
and
Yes.
impressing the women, right? And you're pointing out, okay, well, that does not at all mean that he is excuse me, that does not at all mean that he is getting laid with the women. And I agree with that, right? Obviously, impressing a girl with a magic trick doesn't mean that you are sexually active with them. But
Yeah.
the positive response that he got from these women, that's something that I can't get, and that's something that I wish I could. So,
Really.
yeah, so that ties back to what you said about the girls, um, at the pool party that I was talking about. Like,
Mhm.
even if they're just friends and they're just, like, hugging with the bikini on and everything, I don't know, like, even if they're just close friends and that's why they're comfortable with each other doing that, um, I would still, like, I can't get that, you know
You
what I mean?
can't? You can't? Really? Like, nothing like that at all?
Well, I mean, To me, getting a friend who is comfortable with you being physical in that way is just as hard as getting a girlfriend.
Really? For you?
Yeah, because I mean, if a girl is comfortable being physical with you in that way, it shouldn't be that difficult to start a romantic relationship with her, should it?
I still think there's a fine line between, a relationship and just entertaining somebody. Um, Let me think. I've even back in my days when I looked like an Apple HomePod, I could entertain a girl, right? I've never had an issue with that. Um, I wouldn't say I'm the most normal guy in the world, but I've never had an issue with that. I could totally see myself being one of those oofy doofy orbiters, high body fat, hugging a girl. But I don't think that leads to anything positive. It's just a waste of time. And again, everything is relative, right? Like I'm sure you're looking at those guys, you're fucking seething. You're like, oh my god, why isn't that me? But for me, I don't think that means anything. I think that's just pointless, I think that's just pointless prattle. It doesn't lead to anything. And yeah, I don't obviously, yeah, if you don't get it at all, yeah, obviously you would feel a bit envious, but I'm gonna tell you as that high body fat oofy doofy hugging a girl at one point, it doesn't mean anything. It means nothing at all. Taking a picture with a girl, talking to a girl, making her laugh, it's really pointless. I don't think it really means anything. So I don't think you're missing out on much. But again, I think you have to be the entertainer to understand that it doesn't mean anything.
But I think it's such an important skill to have, that just doing that is not like it's not gonna make a huge, um it's not like you're winning much, right? But if you don't have that skill, like your incompetence, socially, like your social ineptitude is going to negatively impact, like, a bunch of other areas of life. Um,
Right, right.
it's gonna make you, like, do horribly in job interviews, you're gonna have trouble making male friends as well. It's just like and I wanna learn to do that because by doing that, I will learn the social skills in the process.
Well, Turbo BP, I have a perfect opportunity for you. I'm gonna go take a piss break because I've been practicing using diuretics. And I took 80 milligrams of furosemide just
Oh,
today, and I gotta piss really bad. So I want you to rizz up the people in the chat right now while I go take a piss break for 5 minutes.
alright.
Um, Practice your talking skills really fast. See if you can try to entertain or rizz up anybody in the comment section for me.
Okay. Let's give it a go. Let's see. Okay, CVA TV Bizarre Adventure commented, "What do you think about the channel Incel Cringe?" Yeah, I'm actually planning to do a live stream with him too. Um, I already have done one in the past, but it was really bad. So I hope we can do another one, talking about, like the Black Pill School of Thought. Um, but well, the main thing that the main like critique, I don't know if it even is a critique that I have about Incel Cringe, is that his channel used to be like targeted at black pillars. And he would almost like pretend to be a black pillar with his like thumbnails and titles, but he would like convince people against the black pill. Um, but he changed his strategy, like he changed his incel name. He changed his YouTube channel name, um, to Incel Cringe, and he started to like really double down on just directly criticizing incels and criticizing black pillars, um, as someone from the outside. And I think that the new strategy is like less effective at convincing black pillars to stop being black pilled. Because I think that's his goal. He wants to convince black pillars to, adopt a more optimistic mindset, you know. Um, but because he's like acting like an r slash incel tears user, like I think that his new approach is less effective. So that's my opinion about incel cringe. Affidness of the universe said, I can make any girl laugh. None of them opened their legs. Being funny is pointless. Well, did you gain any enjoyable social experiences um, by using your social skills and being entertaining? Yo, Dre?
All right, I'm back. It's over for piss cells. That's so funny. All right. So where were we?
Um, you're saying jester maxing doesn't lead you anywhere.
It's pointless. Yeah, completely pointless. Been there, done that. Nothing.
Mhm. Um, when I was in like elementary, middle, and high school, I was like a massive jester, and not jester in the sense of like pointless small talk, like talking about like the football game. Oh, the lizards beat the dinosaurs or something. No, not
Lizards beat the dinosaurs. That's a good
that's so stupid.
one.
Yeah, but no, I
Good.
wasn't that kind of jester though, because like I think the term jester maxing has evolved because like ever since Wheat Waffles started saying jester, he just meant jester maxing as like pointless social banter, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
But before he used it that way, I think the predominant way the term was used is like actually being a clown to the point of like you making a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I did when I was like until I graduated high school. Actually, no, until like the second half of high school. But even though I had like no self-respect back then and I was making a fool of myself, that's when I had the best social life that I ever had, which is not a great social life by normie standards, but it's much better than anything I had after I changed my ways and stopped being a clown. So I think there's a point where if your social skills or your personality is so like lacking that being a jester maxer is better than nothing.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I am now. After it's really hard to undo all that gesture maxing you did, right, in high school. And I'm kind of in that
Well,
boat right
I switched to a different school, and that change of environment made it really easy for me to just start anew and like
now.
stop acting like an idiot.
Well, I'm talking even the mental things, because like mentally, you're still that gesture max wherever you take yourself, and that's something I had to deal with a lot. I remember back when I work, and even yesterday, I was working the night shift. Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I was working the night shift, and I was very tempted. The doctor I was working under, he was like, "Oh, how do you describe yourself?" And I was so tempted to like make fun of myself. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a loser that just sits inside, but I'm ready to work for you." Blah blah blah. And I'm sure that would net a positive laugh out of him, but I'd like hold it. I had to hold it and just be like very professional and stuff, and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm just a regular guy," and not make fun of myself. And yeah, while that may have probably net me a less positive reaction in the short term, I think in the long term he probably had more respect for me by not making a complete ass out of myself. If the let me just put it this way, if the only way you can get people to laugh and talk to you is by making a complete donkey out of yourself, I don't think that's worth it, because all those girls, they aren't laughing with you, they're laughing at you, and it's pointless. It's completely pointless. It's a waste of time. Uh, and you're not missing out on much. And while it may seem in the short term that social your social standing is higher, it doesn't mean anything. You're just gonna be remembered as that weirdo. I don't wanna be like that. I wanna at least have respect for myself.
Yeah, that's
I don't think
true.
it's worth
Because
it. Yeah.
because it gave me a lot of um, like it made the school day more exciting
Oh
at the
yeah,
cost of like everyone just like looking down on me pretty much. Um,
exactly. Yeah,
I mean, and I thought when I stopped doing that, I thought that it wasn't worth it. But now that I'm so much lonelier, I still prefer that to what I have now.
yeah, man. I totally get it. Like in college, I stopped all the jester maxing. All at least for the most part, I stopped the jester maxing. There'll be times, uh, yeah, like last week I was at a girl's place. They all invited us to watch this movie. I was the only guy there, and there are a few times where I had to take shots at myself. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, well," like they were all making fun of me. 'Cause I had this really old voicemail where I sound where like my 12-year-old prepubescent voice was still the voicemail, right? And they're all like, "Oh, tee Dre, you have such a high pitched voice," and it was higher than it is right now. And even now, I sound like I'm a like a child, even with this voice. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to sound like a girl," and they're all like, "Oh, tee Dre, that's so funny." But I don't think I felt good making fun of myself. I just felt worse. I could tell none of them were actually more attracted to me. They thought I was just a clown. But when I actually, talked about other things that were more important, uh, things that actually gained me respect, they listened and they weren't making fun of me. And I think those interactions went a lot more positively than the ones where I just made fun of myself. So yeah, while it may seem like Jester Maxing gets a stronger, more entertaining burst of attention, for lack of a better term, I don't think it's worth it, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. It
Yeah.
doesn't lead to anything. It's
Well,
pointless. It's
the
just
gesture
clown.
maxing I did in high school,
Mhm.
I did make self-deprecating remarks
Oh
occasionally,
yeah.
but the most of the gesture maxing was like actions, so that uh, I would like do stupid stuff because I had a crush on this
Oh
girl
yeah.
that I had
Yeah.
I had a crush on a girl, and then I got my friend's like cologne bottle, and I just poured like the bottle on the floor in
Oh my
class,
god.
and the whole class just smelled like cologne, dude. But that it's like the stupid stuff like that is it helped me build friendship. Like, I don't know if it wasn't like true friendship, but it got me acquaintanceship that I have been unable to have without the help of those stupid shenanigans.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, my freshman year of high school was when my gesture maxing was at peak, right? You think dumping the cologne bottle was bad? I was so afraid of falling into the South Asian stereotype of the nerd who just studies all day that I would just purposely flunk classes. I would just be like, "Oh, haha, I didn't turn in the assignment, guys. Look at me. I'm such a careless nerd. I'm such a
Dude,
not
I
not
did
even
that
nerd.
too, bro.
I'm such a careless loser who doesn't care about my grades. I'm such a badass." And yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, haha, haha, Dre, you're so funny. You're so funny. You didn't turn in your assignment." But that just hurt me. Like there's no point in doing that. They'll laugh at you in class, and they'll be like, "Oh, haha, that's so funny." But how many times were you really invited to things after school? There were always parties and stuff going on that I was never invited to. They just
Yeah,
see me as,
0,
like, that
0.
weird ki exactly, they just see me as that weird kid who just flunk his classes to try to fit in, but it didn't lead to anything good. Like, no girl was like, "Oh, he failed his math test. That's so hot. Oh my god, I want him so bad." Like, nobody says that. Like,
Yeah, of
all
course not.
this gesturing is pointless. Yeah, it doesn't lead to anything actually good, and it just detriments you in the long term. Uh,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
actually
in what
oh,
were you gonna
go
say?
ahead.
You gonna say something?
No, I said, go ahead, finish.
Oh, yeah, so in college, I went away from the whole "haha, I'm flunking my class" thing to being like a I don't know, I wanted to look as if I was the party type, so I would just joke about how much I drink and stuff outside of classes, and now everyone just thinks I'm a raging alcoholic. Like, I was talking to this girl, and she's like, "Oh, do you brush your teeth with vodka?" And I'm like, "What the fuck? No, I don't do that." And everyone thinks I just come to class, like, drunk and stuff, and it's like, yeah, like, it might look cool, like, "Oh, ha, I'm drinking," and that's, like, a really cool and mature thing to do, but you think I think a studious Chad who drinks on the weekends is much more appealing to girls than, like, like, cringe maxer who, like, pretends to be an alcoholic when they're really not, like, it's all these it really just comes back to the BP. Like all these actions you do doesn't lead anywhere. All these gesture maxing tips, like all these gesture maxing things you do, it doesn't lead anywhere actually meaningful. You just make an ass out of yourself. You just harm yourself in the long term. And you actually just get the reputation of being a loser. Like people just think you're a loser and nothing else. So yeah, no, I just think it's dumb. You might get a reaction, but it's not a good reaction. I
Yeah,
don't think.
yeah. Um, so I relate to like like flunking in school. I regret not trying harder in high school. Um, but like the regret really came like once I because I was disappointed to be rejected from the colleges I wanted to go to, right? But
Oh yeah.
most of the regret really hit when I like once I've spent time in college and I'm go on social media and I see like what because a lot of my high school classmates went to the same college, which is also more prestigious than the one I attend. And
Right.
I see all the fun that they have together, and they're like they've built that friendship since like high school, middle school, and even before that. And it's like I feel so bad for missing out on that. And now like wishing that I could be one of them is is the main reason that I wish I could have the main reason that I wish I had worked harder to get admitted to that university.
Well, you got to think, even if you, I don't know, went to goddamn Harvard, right? You'd still bring yourself with you. Like I think that way too. I'm like I look at like all those people that went to better schools than me who are more attractive, and I really think that it wouldn't matter. Like all that fun that they're having, they wouldn't have had that fun with you. Like they wouldn't. I don't think they'd invite you to anything. You'd just be taking, you'd just be suffering more in a harder school while they all party and stuff. I don't think obviously you should work hard, right? Like if you had the choice between a prestigious school and like a very mediocre school, pick the prestigious school every time. But all that fun that you see on social media, they wouldn't have had that with you. If they went to the bad school, they would just have fun without you. Like
Yeah,
it
that's a
doesn't
good point.
matter. Yeah, like
Uh,
it doesn't matter really. And it's a sad truth that's hard to swallow, but at the end of the day, it still is the truth.
I mean, like the hard to swallow bit about prestige about like universities and like prestige and academics is that like I used to like when I was in like elementary school, right? I had this false perception that the more of a nerd you are, like the more of a studious, like intelligent student you are, the less fun you have. So
Oh yeah.
I thought that the people who go to the state school are just partying and like, you know, drinking and stuff. But I thought that the students who go to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, MIT, they just study all day. They never go to parties, and they don't do any drugs. That's what I thought when I was like 10 years old, right? But
Right.
in throughout middle school and high school, I learned the harsh reality that actually everyone has sex, regardless of how intelligent, how studious they are. Everyone gets into relationships. Well, I don't mean everyone, but I mean
Everyone attractive.
no, also not that. I don't mean like every individual. I mean like every group of people. So there's not like a group of people like smart people or, you know, academically oriented people who are just like predominantly virgins and don't have sex and don't party. Like wherever you go to Harvard, you go to Stanford, you go to MIT, these people all party, these
Ooh.
people drink, these people have sex,
Oops.
and I don't, that there is no excuse basically. Like before I thought, oh, if I'm a good student, well, if I be a good student, like other good students also don't get that stuff either. So, well, no, that's not true. I'm the only one. That's at least that's what it feels like.
I wouldn't say you're the only one. So like we had this. I was in multiple friend groups as a kid. Um, so like I have like a. So there's like one where it's like very normal, like my sports friend group, and I have another one that's just full of like nerds, like full of like the how do I say this without being racist? Nerdy Asian people. Nerdy Asian people. As the other friend group I'm part of. And all those people, yeah, they get no hose, and they go to all prestigious schools that you could think of, like Georgia Tech, Vandy. hell, I know one guy from Yale, and you know those guys aren't pulling anything. So, and of course, there are those people who are like the traditional blonde Stacys that go to Yale either on daddy and mommy's money or because they're actually like smart people that just happen to be attractive. And yeah, while those people might have fun and party, I still think that there's always going to be those group of nerdy people that just don't have fun regardless of where they go. And if that nerdy Asian guy that went to Yale went to shit, I don't know, Hamza University, I still think he would get no hose, mainly because Hamza University is an online scam, but also because I think wherever you go, you take yourself with you. So I don't think it's an external problem, depending on your location, more than it is just you being a subhuman, right? Like if I was an attractive guy that went to Harvard, like a 9 out of 10 Chico clone, I would still find a way to have fun, even though it's more quote unquote studious than Hamza University. So I think that that FOMO that you're feeling, I really don't think it's I really don't think it's because of where you attend. More so, it's just because of you yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Um, well, what I meant was that I was wrong thinking that the type of people who attend those prestigious schools are the type of people like me. And what I've realized is that the type of people like me are exceedingly rare. Like I used to think that most Asians are like me, but no, most Asians are much more sociable, much cooler, and they just have a lot more fun than me, right? And I look, you said that those Asians who are going to like Harvard and Yale,
Yeah,
they're not pulling any hose. I
yeah.
look, maybe it's just my insecurity and envy speaking right now, but I don't really believe you. I think that the majority of them are getting some dating experience, and I am in the minority who is not. That's how I feel.
So you think that everyone but you is getting something? Is that how you
Yeah,
feel?
see, that sounds like it's just my envy and insecurity speaking, right? Because it's not everyone but me, but I just feel like I'm in such a small minority because the black pill community, especially rehab room and the people who like present this idea that the majority of men in 2024 are struggling and just they're not getting any attention from women. I just I just think that that is maybe it depends on on location. Maybe after college it does get more difficult.
Oh
But
yeah, for
I,
sure.
I feel like I'm in such a tiny minority. Like I mean, barely anyone has trouble getting dating experience in the way that I do. Even if they're sub 5, even if they're raised by strict Asian parents.
Again, I think that's the thing with the BP. It's like it explains everything. I think it really just is looks. Like those Asians that you say are very studious, are they attractive? Would you say that they're good looking or at least normie plus in
Well, they're
looks?
like 4s and 5s.
And are the girls that they date 4s and 5s? Or are they like 9 out of 10
Well,
medicine beer clones?
you barely see 9 out of 10 women anyway. They're most of those girls are in the 4 to 6 range.
Yeah, I think that's very like normal. I think
Yeah, but it
that
kind of contradicts the BP narrative that like 80% of men are struggling and oh, it's not even the 80-20 rule now. It's 95-5, It's like I mean, come on.
yeah, I think that's kind of delusional. I think that's where the whole doomsday archetype comes into play. Like you have the hardcore BPers like rehab who are like, "Oh yeah, well nobody's getting anything good." But I think I think the vast majority of people are gonna have some sort of sexual experience. Like even with me, like I wouldn't say I'm very good looking. I've pulled a few girls. I've had a few girls, actually attracted to me. Um, but I wouldn't say it's anything good. I'm not like satisfied with what I have, which makes me sound ungrateful. But uh, let me think. I don't think I don't think it's the quality of life you expect. I don't think I think just having a few options and not really having any say in what you do is a good thing. Just because those people are pulling, 4 to 6s doesn't mean that they're happy. Um,
I I think that's kind of a cope, you know?
really, you think that they're all happy?
Oh, no, not all of it's not so, like, cut and dry, but, the notion that people who, are in relationships are not, like I think that the truth is that relationships give you a massive, massive amount of fulfillment, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
they greatly improve your quality of life, they improve your mental health, um, it's just, like, everything good, unless it's, like, a toxic, abusive relationship, but,
Right.
so many people will cope and try to downplay the amount of happiness it gives you.
I think the closest I ever got to a relationship was this one time in summer camp where you know, where some girl, she asked me out, which is kind of weird because it was like a summer program in high school. And the happiness I felt for like those next few days before she eventually dumped me and I was sad, I was I was incredibly happy for those days. Uh yeah, no, I definitely do think that it gives you like a huge boost. I think I would be much happier, much more productive on top of that if I had a relationship. But I think a lot of normies and stuff have that wool over their eyes. Like I said, they're not completely impervious to the importance of looks, but they still think that, relationships and stuff like that, they think that oh my god, I really wish I wrote a script for this. Oh, man. I really think that they'll be happy for a bit and then they'll go back to being miserable. I think that my life would be significantly better if I had a relationship, but also not having much say in who I get to date or who I get to, have one night stands with also does kind of bother me to an extent. That makes sense. Obviously, those normies that you see hanging out at the college library, at the local bar, they're obviously way happier than me and you, just making like these 3 hour like crying streams where we're like, oh, boo-hoo, no girls, no girls. But I still don't think they are completely impervious to any sort of problems whatsoever. That
Yeah, of
makes
course, no,
sense.
I'm not saying it's black and white,
Yeah.
like, everyone has problems, some people just have bigger problems.
Oh yeah. I don't think those problems would be fixed by a relationship. But on the flip side, I think a relationship would massively improve my own self-esteem. Having a girl to come back to who actually understands me and talks to me, knows the ins and outs about me. Um, that would definitely help me in the short term, right? Like I always compare it to having a best friend. I was very lucky to have a friend. I remember I went up to my current roommate Ned. I remember I went up to him in kindergarten back when there was no social stigma or anything like that. I'm like, hey, you want to be friends? And he's like, yeah, sure. And we just hang out every day. And 12 years later, I'm like, or not 12 years later, I can't do the math. 16 years later or so, I'm still very happy. I'm very blessed, I guess, quote unquote. I wouldn't say I'm religious. Very grateful to have him because he understands the ins and outs of me pretty well. And I'm sure that's the closest thing I'll have to any sort of relationship, whether it's platonic or anything. And I think I think if I had a girl who understood me like that, I would be a lot happier as well. I would stop stressing so much about the way I look, all those like small things.
Mhm.
But I think I'd still have problems, right? Like I still have a quote unquote best friend, but I still have problems at work, in classes and stuff. But I would still have a huge relief off my chest to just finally have a girl that understands me, is intimate with me. And I think I would be a lot happier. I guess I don't know. This is like a complete tangent. I don't know. My
Yeah,
bad.
it's actually, I'm glad that you brought up that tangent because, like, this is I think one of the most negative impacts of getting black pilled because, we all want to, be in a relationship with someone who we feel like understands us and really connects with us, and we can open up to and say whatever's on our minds, right?
Yeah.
Um, but because you're black pilled, um, you want someone who is gonna connect with that side of you, and,
Right.
you just narrow down the pool of people that you can have that kind of connection with to a very, very, very small pool because very few women are going to accept your black pill beliefs. So, because you are black pilled, the girls that you could have gotten, like, let's say that you get a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
If you were not black pilled, then you could share everything that's on your mind with her, and she would understand you, and you would feel good, right? But because you're black pilled and you can't afford to share that with her, now you feel like you can't open up to her. Um you have to like talk through a filter.
Do
So,
you really think that way? Um, for me personally, I always play like these scenarios in my head because it's the closest thing I'll have to any sort of conversation with a girl, which is kind of sad when I say it out loud. But I've always imagined in my head just telling her, I'm like, uh, hell, I didn't even show my girlfriend a DVD-R video. Like, I don't think she would really get that mad. I'd just be like, "Oh, I think looks are really important." I think she would actually understand that. I wouldn't really be afraid to share my mind or share what's on my mind, even if I was quote unquote black pilled. I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing BP beliefs with people IRL. I think it's totally fine. I tell my crazy friend Drew about what's on my mind and how I think looks are important, and he's like, "Oh, that's really dumb, man." But he doesn't think any less of me, right? Like I don't think anyone would really care. If even if I open up my channel, I'm like, "Hey, I have a BP channel and I talk about the importance of looks." I don't think anybody would think any less of me per se, especially because, looksmaxing and everything is mainstream now. I really don't think they'd think any less of you. I really don't. That's
um
just me.
I think like, well, how like tame are the viewpoints that you express to the normies? Is it just like, oh, physical attractiveness will improve the way that you're perceived? Like, I mean, everyone agrees with that, right?
Oh yeah.
But like, if you can't say anything that you would find posted on like a black pill Discord server or an incel forum. Um, so I mean, I can. The only black pill that you can get away with talking about in real life is like a really diluted, sanitized version of it. That is, it's just like a dark blue pill.
Really? I disagree. Yeah, maybe like the terminology that they use on the forums would be a bit too much for them. But I think they would just think you're being funny. Like I don't think they'd actually
No,
like be
like,
offended by anything you
it's not
say.
even the
Really?
terminology. I think it's a utter complete clash of worldviews, and like expressing the beliefs that I have, which not every black pillar thinks the same, of course, but
Of
I
course,
think
yeah.
it's one of the most socially unlikable things that you can ever do. I really do think that.
Uh, let me think. This is gonna blow your mind, but I remember in college. This was a few semesters back. I wrote an essay, right, about the importance of looks and how it's completely changed my mind. Hell, I even threw in some terminology for this essay. I was very passionate about it, and I remember I did so well on this essay that the professor asked me to read it in front of the entire class, which is crazy because it's completely about like looks maxing and just like delusional stuff. And everyone liked it. Like they didn't think anything weird about it. I had one guy ask me, he's like, "Oh, do you believe in this stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, with full conviction. I believe it's true." And nobody thought any less of me. I didn't lose any friends. Nobody thought I was weird. The same people that were in my class still invited me to do things with them. And even though I do have this very, very, very strong conviction that looks are the key to life and that they run every single facet of life, nobody thought any less of me. Nobody thought any less of me whatsoever. And I even if I got into a relationship, I would be like, "Hey, I believe that the only reason why you're with me is because you're okay with the way I look. I met your looks threshold, and that's the reason why you're dating me." And while that might be a bit jarring at first, I don't think the girl I would be with would get mad about that whatsoever. She might be like, "Oh, I disagree." but I genuinely don't think she would be mad at all. I don't think she would care in the slightest. I really don't.
Uh, well, of course there are girls who don't care. Um, I think that if I said that, I think for the average woman, if the man she is with says that thing that you just said, like it would be a massive like not to the point of being a deal breaker, but it would make the dynamic between them much more negative.
How so? Like, would she be like how would that negatively impact relationship? That's
Because
what I'm asking.
people hate being around other people who are cynical. So
That's the thing. You think it's inherently cynical. I don't think that's true at all. Like
I think
girls have
that
been
normies perceive it as cynical.
I mean, if they thought it was cynical, why would the cosmetic industry and the plastic surgery industry be so large? The billions of dollars every year. Because
Yeah,
everyone
well,
knows.
they do it, but they don't like it when other people point it out. Like if someone like, oh, you did this for vanity reasons. You say that, and they don't like you. Like you can't point out the harsh truth that no one wants to admit.
Yeah, I think if you brought in other aspects, like let me think. I know I can't touch on this too much, but I think if you brought up like like race, right? There was this one time I was out with, my friend and these 2 girls, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, well, I think a huge reason why I can't pull anyone is because of my skin color." And obviously, I'm not saying that it's the only reason, and of course, I need to preface this by saying I'm a huge liberal. I'm the wokest woke to ever woke of all time. I'm super woke, and I believe in all wokeness. So I need to preface it with that. Go Kamala Harris or something. I don't know. Just so YouTube doesn't get mad at me. Go Kamala. Go Jill Stein. Woohoo! But jokes aside, I did point this out to them, and they did get kind of. I do kind of see what you mean. They did get kind of mad. They're like, "Oh no, well, it's not because of your skin color. It's because of your personality." But then they turned around and they were like, "Well, maybe you're onto something," because they watched some other Indian guy get rejected at the bar, and they turn around to me and they're like, "Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you're onto something." And I think yeah, while it is a deep truth that people don't want to admit, I still think uh I still think people will turn around and eventually accept it at one point. I don't think it has this huge stigma like you point out. I think everyone deep down understands it, and they won't get mad at you for saying it if that makes sense. I really don't think so.
Okay.
Let
Um,
me let me look at the
well, I
live
think
chat.
oh,
I'm just reading it. You go ahead.
um, I think because the way that I'm black pilled, like a few years ago, I was like really like into the look stuff, and that's my like perception of the black pill is like it's like looks, right? But over time, my idea of the black pill has like shifted into more of just um like life stuff, like rehab room, because he's like shifted away a little bit from the look stuff, and he's focused on just like success, like a philosophy of determinism and everything. And I think that it's the perceived negativity that makes it the most like disliked by normies. So if you talk about looks maxing, I think that you'll probably be fine. But you know, if you disagree with optimism that normies believe in, the optimism that's like the foundation of like all the blue pill school of thought, then that's what's gonna make them think that you're a negative person, and they're gonna see you as toxic, and they won't want to hang around you.
All right, I do have to kind of agree with you, I guess. If you, it comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. I think if you only view it as a negative thing that hurts you, if you think that looks are hindering you, then yeah, people won't like that. But if you spin it around and you're like, "Hey, if you improve your looks, you will have a much better time in life." And if you obviously everything is based off hope, like you said, that optimism. And if you tell people, "Oh, well, it's if you improve your looks, your life will be better," you still have that grain of positivity in what you say, and they're gonna be less mad at you for what you say.
Yeah,
And
okay, well,
I still think you could totally, like, BP people IRL, and they wouldn't really care that much. They might brush it off, but I don't think they'll think any less of you per se.
that's like only half the side of the BP though. Because wait, how do you think normies would react if let's say that a normie says something along the lines of like anyone can succeed if they put their mind to it. And then you disagree and you say no they can't. How do you think they
Ooh,
would what do you think they would think of that?
ooh, yeah, yeah, I guess that's true. Well, I guess you're being too yeah, I kinda do see what you mean. How would I spin this in such a way?
I mean, see,
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, you have to keep. That's why I said about talking through a filter. You know, like if you had a girlfriend, you would want to be able to just say whatever is on your mind and not have to like sanitize it for like to be politically correct. But if you're black pilled, that's what you have to do because no woman, like it's cliche because blue pillars say that oh it's the negativity, right? Women want like oh you can't get a girlfriend because you're negative, like no girl wants a boyfriend who's negative, right? But that is actually true. Like there's so much truth to it because like a woman wouldn't want to be around a man who like believes that what he can achieve is limited by his genetics and that that things aren't going to get better, that
yeah.
a man who doesn't believe that he can achieve you know whatever if he puts in the work, a man who doesn't believe in free will.
Yeah, I think they definitely would get pissed off if you just directly, try to BP them like that. Um,
I mean, I don't
I don't
even want to
know.
BP other people. Like, I don't want other people. I'm not. My goal when I talk about BP is not to get other people to agree with me. I just want them to accept my way of thinking as something that's legitimate, as like a legit alternative viewpoint, rather than something that ought to be corrected with therapy,
Positivity, yeah.
right? Because
Um,
if like anything that causes normies to tell you to get therapy is not something that's going to benefit you socially to say.
yeah, that's a fair point. Tell you what, how about I take another piss break and I'll think about it in the bathroom.
Yeah, sure thing.
Damn, I really should not have taken 80 milligrams of furosemide before this, but yeah, no, keep raising up your audience. Read the comments and see if there's anything we could possibly talk about. I'm really enjoying this so far.
Okay, I'm glad you enjoy it. Noodle Soldier Colonized says asks, what do you think of cute cells? Um well, by like Asian beauty standards, they are the preferred archetype, the preferred male archetype. So I mean cute cells are like adjacent to pretty. I mean, oh wait, actually no, because I got it confused with pretty boys. Because cute cells are not pretty boys. Cute cells are like the incel equivalent of a pretty boy, you know. Um, so they can't get girls because of a lack of masculinity or a lack of dimorphism. Um, I don't know. Like I just think it really sucks for them. Um, in many ways outside of dating as well, because like a cute cell and like an ogre who are equally unattractive physically, in dating, they'll have it like this just as bad, right? But if you are a cute cell, you will also get less respect from like male coworkers, and you're more likely to get bullied in school. So I think like being a 4 out of 10 cute cell is worse overall in life than being a 4 out of 10 hyper masculine ogre. No Name says people are more receptive to the BP if you frame it as a social critique rather than a personal insecurity. I agree, but I struggle how you can frame it as a social critique because Black Pill believes that all those problems are like inherent to human nature. So it's actually the blue pillars who who frame it as a social critique, right? It's the blue pillars who they will criticize Western Eurocentric beauty standards, right? So that's a social critique, and it's talking about the importance of looks, but it's as a social critique. But a lot of black pillars don't believe that it is mainly social. They believe that the advantage
All right,
is
how goes raising up your audience?
I'm just gonna finish this point real quick. So
All right, gotcha.
many black pillars believe that the advantage is biological. So that's not so much of a social critique as it is a critique of human nature, and it's a very politically incorrect one at that. And people don't like that. Okay, Dre, welcome back.
Yeah. Um, man, I really should prepare a script for this. So you're saying something about politically incorrectness or something like that? Man, I got no idea what's going on.
Oh, I was responding to a comment that said that normies will be more receptive to your BP viewpoints if you frame it as a social critique, and don't make it seem like a personal insecurity. And I said that you know, it's not really possible to make it a social critique if you believe that the problem is rooted in human nature. Um, and I think that oftentimes it's the blue pill that is the one making those social critiques.
Give me an example. I'm trying to
Well, I was
picture.
talking about like ethnic differences in perceived attractiveness.
All right.
So blue pillars will frame it as a social critique, like non was it non-player character? Let's see, oh, it was No Name. Yeah, so blue pillars will frame it as a social critique, like he said. But for black pillars, in the black pill viewpoint, it's not like a social critique because they think that the advantage is biological, not social. I mean, or somewhat social, but like a lot of black pillars think it's mainly biological. So you can't really turn that into a social critique. And at best, you'll come across as misanthropic. At worst, you'll come across as racist.
um, I still think that if you went up to somebody, yeah, like at first you may come off as racist, right? But like if you asked the local blonde Becky, if you really like probed her mind and she was forced to spend hours with you just discussing this, I think she would eventually break. I think that like I said earlier, I think deep down everyone does kind of understand this whole thing. Like even with my own mother, she's she works in social work. I'll say that much, right? She sees underprivileged families a lot. And my mom's like the normiest norm to ever norm. She doesn't if I told her any of the I remember I showed my mom a rehab room video and she thought rehab was named Hamudi for some reason. And she was like, no, no, she's like, oh no, no, do not put Hamudi on the screen. He's a bad influence for you. Do not put on Hamudi. And even she agrees to an extent that not everyone can have everything, right? Like she sees all these poor underprivileged families and she's like she understands to an extent that there are ethnic differences, there are financial differences, there are all these things. And if you frame it in such a way to show that the underprivileged people have a innate unfairness, I think I think even she would eventually come around and understand that quote unquote Hamudi is right. Um, and I really do think if you showed anybody enough of the BP, they would eventually succumb to it. I think they would finally accept it, and they would finally not see it as this whole negative cloud of misery, but solely the truth. Oh, I'm looking at I'm looking at the comments. Did Dre take laxatives or something? No, Dre did not take laxatives. Dre took diuretics, which make you piss a lot, and that's why I have to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes. Terrible idea. Do not do this while on a live call. Horrible idea.
Yeah,
Um,
I actually got to take a piss break too.
no way.
Yep, be right back.
All right, gotcha. I'll just answer some questions. Dre, what do you think of cute cells, babyface incels? Let me think. I'm trying to think. I don't think cute cells mog. I'm sorry. There was this one guy that sat at our lunch table in senior year of high school, and he was super obsessed with this girl named Autumn. And I think I mentioned Autumn in one of my videos. And I remember she even turned around to me and she's like, Dre, he looks like an infant. I don't want him. And cool it with the Miralax, bro. It's not Miralax. It's not making me have to it's not causing any bowel movements. I'll say that much. It's not causing any bowel movement. It's causing piss movements. It's making I'm basically a waterbender right now. Um Trust me, this is all in the name of science. I have a diuretics video coming out in my Looksmax review series. It's gonna be episode 4. I'm not reviewing Miralax because that doesn't make you waterbend. I'll say that much. Um, I ate too much Chipotle. I don't no, it's not my stomach. It's not my stomach. I have to piss. It's completely different. It's completely different. I swear. Um, let me read.
I'm back.
Um, oh, that was fast. Did you go in a bottle or something?
No, I'm right next to the bathroom.
Oh, perfect. I ate too much Chipotle. Coat with the Miralax, bro. I don't know. I might have to bottle max. Yeah, no. Where were we?
Yeah, the politically incorrectness of the race pill, but I don't really want to talk more about that topic because it's
Yeah, me
controversial.
too.
But
Yeah, exactly.
do you want to talk about what do you think about solutions to inceldom?
Uh, I think rehab pretty much covered all of them. I think geomaxing is very legit. Looksmax, even with looksmaxing, he's like, oh, looksmaxing doesn't net you a huge positive. Looksmaxing has actually improved my life a good amount. Um, I think there are solutions. I don't think there's any one size fits all solution, but I think everyone can take proactive steps in improving their social life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, are there any collective solutions? Because geomaxing is a very individualistic solution. Because for every guy that succeeds from geomaxing, you create an incel who like one of the Southeast Asian native men is gonna be an incel. So it's like a zero-sum game. So do you have any collective solutions?
So you're saying geomaxing is bad because you quote unquote steal a native girl from a Southeast Asian guy and then he doesn't have anyone to go to now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're just like passing on the burden to someone else.
Yeah, I mean I don't think there's a collective solution, right? I don't think not everyone can be winners, unfortunately, right? I think if I don't think I would net much if I went to Southeast Asia because I just blend in with the population at that point. But say my roommate Ned, right? He's a 5'9", uh 3 out of 10 in the face type guy. Um yeah, if he screws over one of the native population guys, I don't think there's a one size fits all solution. I don't think that guy's gonna Yeah, anything. He can't go to a quote unquote easier country. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't think there's a solution. I think there's gonna have to always be that one guy who bears the burden, regardless.
Like this is one of the it's one of the problems I see in the black pill community that doesn't really have a solution, but it's like a pet peeve, I guess, because black pill, it's all about like it's supposed to be like caring and like have sympathy for the least fortunate of men, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like most people are just woe is me. Woe is me, woe is me, right? But they don't have much sympathy for other guys who are in the same situation, or even worse situations. Because you know what's you know who has a harder life than the 3 out of 10 5'3" guy in the UK is, you know, in the middle class UK, um, who has a harder life than that guy is the 3 out of 10 5'3" guy who is in Southeast Asia, who is much poorer, who has a much lower standard of living. And black pillars in the West, they just don't give a rat's ass about that guy.
Well,
Like
yeah,
that
no, I
guy's
don't
a
think.
like that guy's a he's having it harder than you. He's more of an incel than you. And you are
Yeah,
willing
well,
to take away that guy's chance because you just want girls for yourself because it's just selfishness.
yeah, well, obviously, as much as we hate to admit it, I think we're all, selfish people at the end of the day, for better, for worse. And of course, if one of us ascends and somehow gets a girlfriend, we're gonna be sitting here being like, "Oh, it's so easy, bro. Oh, that 5'3" guy in Southeast Asia, that's his fault, bro." I could totally see people converting themselves to like this blue pilled state of mind after ascending. Um, yeah, I really don't think there's a solution. There's always gonna be somebody who has to suffer regardless. And while we frame ourselves as the group that looks out for the less fortunate guys out there, we don't wanna admit that we're just as selfish. We like that like, I'm sure you're familiar with the "It's over" guy. Um, that one guy from I don't remember where he's from, like, Europe or something. He geomaxed, he went to, like, Latin America, he went to Eastern Europe, he went to Southeast Asia, he knocked up a bunch of girls. I'm sure if you went up to that guy and you're like, "Hey, why'd you do this? You completely disrupted the social hierarchy in those places." He wouldn't even think twice about it, he wouldn't care, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right? I don't blame him, but at the end of the day, I don't think anyone really cares. They wanna ascend and get out of this hellhole, and they're not looking to fix some greater social problem, they just wanna fix the solution for themselves. They come here because they're frustrated. I'm sure once I ascend, if it's hell, if it's 5 years from now, if it's 5 minutes from now, I'll have that burden off my chest, but that doesn't mean the rest of the problems for everyone in the comment section or even you, it's not gonna be gone. And I don't think there's a one size fits all solution at all. I really think somebody has to suffer at the end of the day. If that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
There is no solution. There really isn't. There's always gonna be somebody who's suffering, and there's gonna be someone who has to be alone, and I think the vast majority of guys just ascend or they try to ascend because they don't wanna be that guy.
Yeah. Um, okay, so this ties into the comment by Anti Arezzo,
Mhm.
and he asks thoughts on if the mainstream BP, if it's good or bad, and if it could have been prevented. So I don't have a firm stance on this, but I can see how it could be a net negative on society because of what you brought up. I think that the blue pill school of thought, they you know that they're well, most people are like individualist. Most people are kind of selfish, like you said, but the blue pill encourages people to pursue relationships in a way that benefits other people as a side effect, such as being a kind person, you know, improving your personality, you know, treating people with respect, treating people with kindness, all of these good behaviors, right? And
Mhm.
the black pill, because it's like a harsh worldview, and it shows how tough and how brutal uh you know things are, how brutal the competition is, you know, shows the bad side of human nature, right? I think that that causes people to develop an every man for himself mentality. So they go like, okay, screw being a nice person. Why should I be a nice person? Like, it's the whole thing is like rigged. It's just like a rigged game. I'm gonna take what I can get. And it's this every man for himself mentality that is why black pill spreading could be a net negative.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I mean, I know I'm kind of contradicting myself with the whole, "Oh, I'm gonna black pill my girl once I get one." But let me try to give you a what I think is a fair comparison. Like think about money. Like I think everyone understands that the distribution of wealth, regardless of society, is unfair, right? You have the whole. I remember it was somebody who was like, "Oh yeah, well, the top 1% have more money than the 99% at the bottom combined." And everyone kind of accepts that fact, right? Like if I were to be quote unquote blue pilled with money, I would say, "Oh, you should be really generous. You should be really kind with people. Give them your leftover wealth." Blah blah blah. Um, but how many people do you really see that think that way? That think, "Oh, you should be kind with your money" and stuff like that. Everyone kind of accepts that finances are really important and that there's an uneven distribution of it, regardless of who you are. But I don't think I don't think if I think if that same mindset was applied to looks and the quote unquote unfair distribution of looks throughout different types of people, I think people would, you know, understand it. And I don't think it would cause this huge upheaval or this huge upside downness in society compared to what we have now. People just accept that looks do play a key part. And I think blackpilling the mainstream wouldn't really have the same negative effects that people here think that it would. Like, think about the whole TikTok boom, where I remember last summer in 2023, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna rope max and edge max and joke max and blah 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 max," and everyone was freaking out. Everyone in our community was freaking out. They're like, "Oh man, everyone's gonna find out about looks. It's over. All the Chadlites are gonna send to Chad." And did that really happen? I don't. I went out and I was with my friends and they were all like, "Oh, looks max, looks max," but they didn't actually do anything like that different, if that makes sense. They didn't really. Everyone knows about it. Everyone kind of understands that looks are more important, but it didn't cause this huge upheaval or this huge like social revolution, right? I
Yeah.
think if that was applied, if people were like even if Joe fucking Biden came on to national media and he was like, "Oh, BP is important. I'm gonna use my White House money to ascend to Giga Chad Joe Biden." It wouldn't really matter. Like nobody would really think twice about it. I don't think it has this huge magnitude of importance like people think. People would just kind of be like, "Mm-hmm, yeah," and then move on, if that makes sense. So I really don't think it would matter if people found out, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
What do you think? Huge tangent, but that's
Well,
my 2 cents.
I think that if it becomes mainstream enough, it will
Mhm.
get to the point where children are growing up with that as their foundational belief system. And
Yeah.
I think that bullying is going to get a lot worse because I think that kids naturally bully each other for their looks.
Oh,
And,
yeah,
the
100%.
the
110%.
physical size, right? And
Yeah.
it takes a lot of blue pilling. Like, parents have to really drill down these blue pills into their kids' heads and tell them looks don't matter, beauty is on the inside, everyone's created equal. They have to really, like, you know, drill down these blue pills just to try to lower the rate of bullying. And if we don't do that, then I mean, it's going to be full send lookism in full force from childhood, which is going to be horrible for a lot of kids' mental health.
I mean, coming back to that whole financial allegory, I mean, we all know the importance of money, but we all know that kid who didn't have much growing up, right? We all know that could have been you, that could have I don't think it was me. I was kinda lucky with my parents because they quote unquote "worked hard." They had enough to raise me, but I did see these kids who didn't have much money growing up, And I mean, yeah, people had to like I remember when I was in 5th grade, I got this really nice watch and my parents bought it for me. I remember my parents telling me, "Okay, well don't go around, flashing this watch in front of people because there are going to be kids in your class who don't have as nice of a watch as you." And I think like I said, everyone knows the uneven distribution of wealth and its consequences. I think just because parents or adults understand the importance of looks, they're not gonna necessarily that doesn't necessarily mean kids are gonna understand it, right? Like, kids are still naive, they don't understand, and even if all adults were suddenly BP'd, I think we would still kinda shield our kids from the importance of looks. Sure, there might be a few leaks here and there where there are kids who are making fun of, the resident bird cell for having a big nose, but I don't think it would be this drastic change. Like, no one's gonna be like, "Oh, LOL, uh, little Timmy over there has a negative cantho tilt, and let's go bully him and take his lunch money and shove him in a locker." I really don't think that's gonna happen, regardless of how BP people are gonna be, because 'cause we're always gonna dilute it. We're always gonna shield our
No,
kids from that harsh truth.
have you
Sorry.
well, have you heard about these, like, in the BP community, these
Yeah.
guys who say that once they become fathers, they're gonna be like the ultimate BP father, and they're gonna give their kids these growth hormones, make them mew and chew, sign them up for sports to, like, optimize their development and everything, like, dude, what about the black pill fathers? Like, what mindset do you think they're gonna instill in these kids? Like, these kids are gonna grow up to be, like, very, very selfish and vain, and I don't know, like,
Well, that's
shallow
again,
people.
that's already happening regardless, like, I keep pulling out these random anecdotes from thin air, but because I have so many. Like, we all knew that those, like, kids who again, like that kid who went to Yale, he wasn't special. He wasn't there's nothing inherently better about him, like his genetics or anything like that. But his parents were loaded with money. They would send him to like tennis classes that cost like 2,000 a minute. Like they would charge these tennis coaches like the tennis coaches would charge like $2,000 a minute just to like get one-on-one time and really train these kids to be the best. And yeah, they had this narcissistic attitude. But again, I think yeah, kids fathers who, black pill their kids and give them all these growth hormones and stuff, that's just another form of what's already happening. I don't
Well,
think it's gonna
I
make a
don't
huge
want another
difference.
form of what's already happening. Like, sorry to cut you off, but what's already happening is shit. And
Oh,
let's
I
do a
agree. Yeah,
minimum.
it's terrible. Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah. Um, but it's just another school of thought. I think those narcissistic parents who like basically turn their kids into the ultimate Giga Chad, I think that's already kind of happening regardless. And I don't think it's you're what you're saying is it's gonna change society, and I'm saying it's not gonna change society. Not that drastically, at
I
least,
don't
sure.
think I don't think black pill will get mainstream enough for the things that I said to happen. I'm saying if
Right.
it gets mainstream, if it gets that mainstream, then it would make these changes. Mr. Dow Jones says, "Turbo BP, you're over worrying because you're underestimating the coping instinct in kids and humans."
Interesting.
Um, we do have like a coping instinct because um there's evidence that like we have a natural inclination to be religious.
And
Um,
cope. Yeah.
well, I'm not saying that that's false. I'm just saying that it's something that something can be true and also be a cope. Um, well, I'm an agnostic, by the way, but I don't think I'm underestimating the coping instinct because there are there are lots of things that can override the coping instinct and make us, because right now we think that, oh, everyone copes and everyone's positive and everyone copes and wants to like believe in these kind nice things, right? But how was Adolf Hitler able to override the coping instinct in like a bunch of people? It's just like one dude giving speeches and they believed something, and he got people to believe something that, it's not very positive, is it? It's not very optimistic. It doesn't believe that everyone's created equal. It doesn't believe that like looks don't matter, race doesn't matter, you know what I mean? So that coping instinct is it's very it's totally possible for us to go against it with socialization and culture.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think you want to respond to that because you know, of the topic. So
Yeah,
um
exactly. I'm not gonna bring up Austrian painter.
um do you have any other topics you want to cover?
I'm trying to think. I was gonna make a dedicated video about the college experience as a sub five, and I just kind of threw it in the trash because I feel like I really don't want my videos to be like DBDR esque. I feel like that whole thing of just pulling anecdotes and stuff is just kind of pointless. I think it's just you know pity farming. And I'm not saying DBDR did that at all. I think like all the DBDR clones, myself included, kind of pull too much from anecdotal experiences. So we could talk about the college experience just here, if you're fine with that, because I don't want to make a dedicated video to that.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure. Yeah,
so
your college experience.
yeah.
I okay, I want to tell you something that I saw today. So there was this like booth, you know how like have you in your college have like organizations, you know, like had set up these booths outside like tables and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw there was like a poster that says um like do you like to fuck? Well, do it safely or something like that, right? So
Oh yeah.
I've also seen a poster in like the counseling office in the lobby, and it said, "He's hot, but syphilis isn't." Like
That's
practice safe
funny.
sex, you know. So there's quite a bit of like overt sexuality on college campuses, and I hear people talk about sex all the time, right? And
Yeah.
it's a really brutal experience because the atmosphere is like this is something that's so normal and so easy to get that you have to use discipline to refrain from it, right? And I'm
Oh
sitting
yeah.
here thinking like I would have to work very hard just to be able to get it, and that sucks.
Just out of curiosity, are you KAHV? Like no experience at all?
I am a V.
Oh, okay, okay. That's better than being KV, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember my freshman year when I was still at V, I was like, "What the hell? What's going on?" Like, it's this very normal thing that just kinda happens, and you just kinda have to watch it. Like, you don't like, it's very normalized, but you can't have it. Like, I go out to the bar and I see all these, like these very normal people, like you said earlier, like these 4 out of 5 high body fat normies who are just, doing it, and I'm just sitting there like, "How the hell do I do this? How do sign me up because I wanna do it." And I could just never imagine. It's completely alien to me. Even now, I have to work really hard, completely, like I have to basically, like, strain my body, like, I'm taking, like, 10 piss breaks an hour right now, just trying to, like, get all the fat out of my face, get all the bloat out of my face, and all these normal people are just doing it without all these chemicals and stuff. So, yeah, I totally get what you mean. Like, I think it's very frustrating to, like, see it because I want it. I want intimacy. I want all these things that normal people have, and for it to just be something that people can restrain themselves from doing is just, like, mind-boggling to me. Like, I always compare sex to alcohol because I think alcohol is something that, like, people can get very normally. When I first tried it, I was like, "I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more," and I wanted it more than anything, but now that I basically have infinite access to it, I don't think it's really the flex that it is, and I think that's the same way these normies view sex. They can just have it on with the drop of a hat, right? Like, it's so normalized for the vast majority of people, and I could just never get that. So, yeah, I totally share your frustration personally. I guess that's just my thoughts on it. And also, I think just a funny story, I was that guy who tabled for all those safe sex things, like, we had to, like, pass out condoms and whatnot for one of my
No.
clubs. Yeah, and that was, like, really funny because I just see all these people pick up condoms, and I'm like, "Here I am passing something out that I'll never use." And it was just
Dude.
like the irony was just hilarious. But now, I mean, they had a bunch of leftovers. I have like a whole bag of condoms,
Oh yeah,
and
dude. I bought
yeah.
condoms just to lower my rice purity score, and I still haven't used any of them.
Oh my lord. Oh, what's your rice purity score now?
I think it's like a 79, if I recall correctly.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just
Man.
want to clarify something I said before, real quick. Um, it's about like the overriding the cope, right? Okay, so I actually take back like the sort of like thing that I might have insinuated. I don't believe that it is a natural cope for humans to believe that everyone is created equal. I think that that is socialized. I think that that is cultural, and there are some like things that we are predisposed to cope with. Um, Egalitarianism, and believing that we all have inherent value that's all equal, that's not one of them. Like that's just that is absolutely cultural and socialized. I don't think that's an innate cope. So oh yeah, tangent over, I digress.
Yeah, no, I kind of get that. Coming back to that whole inherent value thing, I was studying with my friend Ned at the library, and I remember just looking up at him. I was just like really pissed off about something. And I'm like, dude, I wish I had inherent value. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, that couldn't. I kind of get what you mean about the whole like not being too upfront with normies when it comes to the BP, because I was just at a loss of words when it came to the whole inherent value thing. Like I think we can all like look at some girl in our class and be like, "Oh yeah, she has an inherent value. She can just exist and basically people will respect her." If that makes sense. I don't have that. I don't think you have that either. I don't think the people watching this have that. I'm sorry to say.
I don't think
Um
that's what inherent value means, but go ahead.
I mean like inherent like sexual value like they don't have to prove themselves to just have to legitimize their reason for existence. Like they have inherent value by just looking good or just for the fact of them being a girl, they get more let me think of a word. Simps, there we go. They have more simps
Yeah.
just orbiting them, right? They have inherent value to those simps just
Mhm.
for, walking to that classroom or just saying something. Whereas with me, I have to prove my worthiness to exist by my actions, by my accomplishments, and that really rubs me the wrong way. Like it just kind of annoys me that I have to basically do all these things just to legitimize my reason to exist or my worthiness to be in the same room as somebody else. Whereas all these people do things. These all these people don't do things rather, and they just have inherent value.
Mhm.
Is what do you mean by you're like, oh, this isn't what I mean by
Well,
inherent value. What do you mean by that?
what you said is that is a definition of inherent value, but I was
Uh-huh.
more referring to sort of this like magical equalizer. Like humans are all they come in all different shapes and sizes, right? Some are taller, some are shorter, some are more beautiful, some are uglier, some are
Yeah.
smart, some are dumb. But there is this concept that well, there is this one like magical value that every human being has that's completely equal across everyone, right? From
Right.
like the single celled, like just fertilized, just like after conception, well that's what that's what like right wingers in the US believe.
Oh yeah.
Like the left does not believe that, right?
Yeah.
And they think that that value is equal from the moment you're conceived to like literally every human being has that magical constant. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Um
And I think that's a cope.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's a cope as well. I think the fact that some of us have to prove ourselves, the fact that we're in this call right now, shows that some of us don't have that inherent magical power. We have to, cope with these live streams and stuff while other people don't even understand what the hell a BP live stream is. And that really shows us that not everyone has that inherent value, right? Um, we all try to prove our fittingness or our worthiness in different ways. But I think some of us have that inherent worthiness. Whereas some of us have to like do all these copes just to prove that we have this worthiness, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Um, I think that's something that the red pill Or I mean, okay, well, the self-improvement side of the manosphere is like they do try to distance themselves from the rest of the red pill. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, they just they so I don't really consider them like, one and the same with the red pill. But I'll just call it like manosphere self-improvement. Um, I think that the mindsets that they promote are really good for helping men overcome um the type of feeling where you see somebody else not have to work hard and they still get something you want. And for some guys, it kills their motivation, you know, like why should I have to work harder than that guy to get the same thing? If you see someone else have what you want and they don't have to work hard, then you don't want to work hard either, right? But
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
self-improvement community and the mindset that they promote helps you get over that. Because being like all like stuck up on what on how hard somebody else has to work, it's a bad mindset and it doesn't help you.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do agree with that. I remember remember my freshman year when I was on from I moved on from my first one-itis, which I dedicated a whole hour of, a story to. This is my second one-itis. I remember she was dating this guy that was I guess he's kind of my friend. He was my friend for a while, and he just did not appreciate her at all, and I don't wanna say this in the simple way of, "Oh, uh, uh, you gotta be super nice to women and you gotta appreciate them and take good care of them." But he didn't like appreciate her in the sense that he didn't really want to be with her, and she was like super into him. And here I was just sitting around trying to do all this self improvement, watching these charisma on command videos, being like, "Oh, do this one trick and have any girl fall in love with you." And even back then, when I wasn't BP'd, I realized, wait a second, why am I doing all this hard work and all these mental gymnastics just for somebody else to basically do nothing and get the treatment that I want, if that makes sense. So I do kind of see how self-improvement can be demot or the self-improvement people that like get stuck in this infinite loop of just improve, how they can kind of be disillusioned at times when seeing somebody else who doesn't do any work get the achievements that they want. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Um, okay, Mr. Dow Jones says, "What are you trying to say? No amount of hard work will get you what 7 plus men get in the sexual market."
Is
Um,
that is that a response to me or to
response to me, because I said that like, because I was talking about how the self-improvement pill, gives you the mindset that you need in order to work hard even if somebody else doesn't need to. Um, well, to Mr. Dow Jones, I wasn't talking about 7 plus men. I was talking about the 4 out of 10 who is able to get a girl, whereas I can't. If I work hard enough, I I'm pretty sure I'll be able to have what that guy can get. Um, but it's my like envy, laziness, shit work ethic, and um, executive dysfunction, possible ADHD that's getting in the way. Um, yeah, well, long story short, I'm not willing to take the steps that I need to take in order to get what I can get, like in order to fulfill my potential, because I can't get what other guys who are at, even 3 to 4 range can get.
it's really that hard for you? Like, no matter what you do, you can't get anything at all,
Well,
is what you're saying?
I don't even use the word hard to describe. I mean, I have in the past, but that's kind of like poor word choice because it's not that it's difficult, it's just that I am not willing to do it.
Yeah, like, I don't know your height. I genuinely don't know what your height is. I'm guessing if you're like 5'6", you can't quote unquote work your way up to like 6'3", right? Like, it
Yeah,
would be
but
kinda
work your way up from someone who's utterly dysfunctional, has a dog shit routine, and you can improve your health, you can improve your social skills because look, I talked about I can't pass a job interview because my social skills are that shit. I can't make a woman feel comfortable in my presence, you know? Like, I probably have a vibe that just puts people off. Um, if I improve these things, I can drastically improve my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
every day I just wake up and don't take any action.
so what does your daily routine consist of? I'm not gonna give you the whole, "Oh, self-improve, bro," but, like, I'm kinda curious because I feel like both of us have a very different mindset. I'm not saying mine's correct, right? I think the whole hard work and self-improvement loop is fucking pointless. I think it's a huge cope, but I'm kinda curious to see what your point of view is because I think you're a bit more disillusioned than I am, so what do you do on the daily? Do you do any self-improvement, any looksmacks, anything
Uh,
like that?
well, first I'll respond to like, because you think that the whole work hard self improvement thing is a cope. I think that like sometimes, some YouTubers, some creators in the space sell the dream a bit too hard, right? And they,
Oh, yeah. Yep, for sure.
scammers and grifters, right?
Yep.
But I too think that a lot of black pillars underrate what hard work can do for you. And
Yeah.
they just focus on the things that you can't change. Like, look, it's true. Like, no, you're not going to hard work your way from being 5'3" to 6 foot. But if you're addicted to porn and you're fat and you have a garbage diet and you have a minimum wage job as like a fast food worker, then you know I mean, you can't just say that there's no hard work for your face when you have all those problems.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Um, okay, wait. So what do I do? Well, recently, like in the past like week or two, I've actually like managed to turn my sleep schedule around, and actually wake up like at like between 8 to 9 a.m., which is awesome because I have not been doing that for a long time. I've been waking up like all over the place, going to sleep at like 5 a.m. and waking up at like, I don't know, 3 p.m. and then just like going on my phone and then going to sleep again and waking up at like at like night, like missing class because of that. And I mean, I just go to class to like go on my phone and like, surf Reddit and Discord and because there's no way I can pay attention in class, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
I think I might have ADHD. I've never been diagnosed, but it's a possibility. Like, dude, like I've not done like one assignment in college.
And
And it's
you're still how are your grades, if you don't mind me asking?
0.
Jesus, you're really just clocked out like that?
Yeah, and you know what worries me the most is that, I think I care about my family, right?
Uh-huh.
But if I did care about my family, wouldn't I not waste my parents' money? Because they're paying my tuition, right?
Yeah.
And a lot, it's kind of reminds me of how like a lot of people would say like on camera, if you ask them, do you care about the homeless? Do you care about people in poverty? And they'll say, yeah, I care. And you ask them, what have you done to help them? And they'll be like, I don't know, nothing, right? And like that's how it is for me with my family, I'm a complete dog shit piece of shit role model for my younger brother. If I cared about him, why am I not being a better role model for him? Why am I, you know, keeping so much burden on my parents? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not good, man. It's like, do you think this is like getting to the point of sociopathy or something?
I wouldn't say being lazy constitutes sociopathy.
If you're so lazy that you wouldn't even help the people that you love the most, you know, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm kinda like the foil to what you're saying. I feel like I sometimes only work just for my parents. I got this really shitty job, as a medical scribe, right? And the reason why I did it is because I felt so bad about spending my parents' money on just looksmaxing and stuff like that, that I didn't wanna do that. Like, they have more than well, I wouldn't say more than enough. I'm basically broke. I looked at my bank account, but they have enough to get me through the rest of these next 2 years while I'm still in college. And the only reason why I'm even working is just because I felt so bad about spending my parents' money. And I don't know, I think people do things that they don't wanna do, uh, just to, like, please other people. Like, my whole life, I've just been a huge people pleaser. I do all these stupid things, like looksmaxing and stuff. I torture myself, like, I'm just pissing out, like, water a mile a minute just for a potential IOI from a random girl at the bar. And I'm like, "Why am I doing all this?" And I do kinda see where you're coming from. Like, why does it all matter, right? Like, why are you doing all this stuff? Like, you completely clocked out, whereas I'm working hard only for the sake of my parents because I don't wanna be that guy who gets pulled over at a street interview and they're like, "Oh, do you care about your family?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then they're like, "Oh, what did you do?" And I'm like, "Nothing." I don't wanna be that guy, but
Mm,
I don't know.
yeah.
Just
Well, I
on a
haven't
tangent.
clocked out belief-wise, I just clocked out behavior-wise.
That's kinda crazy though. Are you gonna, like, flunk out of college, you think, if you have a 0 in all your
I mean I
classes?
mean, I keep saying that I'm gonna turn things around, but, like, I'm just not willing to do it, you know? Like, dude, I have, like, my parents had to spend thousands of dollars on, like, filling cavities in my teeth because I was which wouldn't have, they would not have existed if I just brushed my teeth consistently, but I'm just too lazy.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, like, I'll do that all the time. Like, I'll do something fucking stupid, and then my parents have to pay for it, and I'll just feel, like, terrible about it. And I think to myself, if I really cared about my parents, would I have done this stupid thing? Like, I do that all the time, and I just feel terrible when they have to clean up my messes. But
Yeah.
yeah, no. I feel like I don't know. I'll
But, yeah, I mean, like, I don't think the black pill was good for me, you know? Like, I just wonder, like, where would I be today if I had, gotten the mindset with the responsibility and the discipline and all that self-improvement, like First Man, Hamza,
yeah.
you know, if I had gotten really deep into that instead of the black pill, where would I be today? You know, maybe I would be in a much better place. Maybe my family would be in a much better place.
Um,
Like, all
I
I care
could
about now is, like, looks and partying and, "Oh, Stacy has everything. Oh man." You know?
Um, well, it really depends on what you mean. Like, I could like I said this in one of my videos. If I fell into the Hamza rabbit hole, if I was like 1 or 2 years younger, I know for a fact I would have fallen into the Hamza rabbit hole, and I'd probably be making stupid Hamza clone videos instead of making stupid DBDR clone videos. And I think I think maybe like in terms of like academic and financial success, I might be slightly better off, but I don't think in terms of, social relationships, romantic relationships, I don't think I would have been in a better place. I think I'd actually be in a worse place because 'cause I'd be focused on all this game and all this I am Adonis crap. And I think I really you'll say that the BP impacted you negatively, but I don't think there's a better place. I really don't think there's a better place than where I ended up now. I really don't. Like, I'm still relatively happy. I was walking around campus today, just breathing in the nice fall weather. I've never appreciated fall as a season before. I'm like, this is really nice. I'm very happy in where I am in life. I might not be the most attractive. I definitely am not the most attractive. I'm definitely not the most successful, but I think even after taking the BP, I'm still a relatively happy person. So I really do think life is still somewhat what you make of it, even though the BP has mostly opened my eyes to the unfairness and the harshness of the world. I think that I think that hope is just a ubiquitous trait in people, regardless of what philosophy they subscribe to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like reading through the comments. There's
I
this guy. What
I'm
were
not
we
like that
saying?
naturally. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, read.
No, there's this guy who's like, Dre, I'm telling you, normies go on crazy diets too from Black Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I think yeah, like normies go on diets, right? Like you always see those. I remember when I was growing up, I'd see all these uh these stupid videos where it's like Weight Watchers and crap, and they'd be like, "Oh, I lost 40 pounds on the Cringe Maxer diet or some shit." And yeah, I know normies go on diets, right? Because everyone knows the importance of looks to some degree. But how many normies do you think are really like doing all this crazy shit where they like take like 80 milligrams of like furosemide or like 200 milligrams of some like weight loss pill and stuff like that. I was telling my friend Drew about this, and he looked at me like I was a crazy person or like doing steroids and stuff. There's obviously like small things that people do, but I don't think it's on the level of like people that you see on the looksmaxing forums and stuff. Uh, I think there are different levels to it personally. I'm trying to look through the other comments. What soft maxing is Dre talking about? If he spends a lot of time and money on soft looks maxing, then at this point it's just coat maxing. Let me think. So I mean, like in terms of soft looks maxing, I'm talking about like skincare, the height lifts. I did a video on height lifts. I don't know if people consider this soft looks maxing, but I'm talking like PEDs and stuff. Like, that stuff is really fucking expensive. It adds up really quick. Um, and yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's made a huge difference, but it still made a difference nonetheless. I wouldn't say it's coat maxing at all. I think it's netted me a positive gain, and I'm glad I did it. And I'd be happy if I had to go back and do it all again. I 100% would. But yeah, no, I don't think there's a lot you can do in terms of soft looks maxing, but there are still some soft maxing you can do that still costs money.
Do the diuretics you're taking make your face look more lean?
Well, yeah, that's why I'm taking them.
Like
Uh,
a noticeable, significant difference?
oh yeah, no, I ate like a whole like thing of sushi before getting on this call
Oh,
because it was $6 at Kroger. I'm like deal, and I bought like two of them. I ate two of them. I take the diuretics, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror right now, and I'm super lean again, even though my face was all bloated from the sodium earlier.
oh,
So it's worth it. Is
yeah.
it? It's gonna damage your body, but I think it's
Okay,
worth it.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, here's another reason blue pillars don't like us, They value health a lot more than we do.
yeah.
Because a lot of black pillars are like, if if you would ascend 1 point of looks, and it would shave 30 years off your life, would you do it? And they'd be like, hell yeah, and blue
They'd say
pillars
hell
find
yeah. Wait, you mean the
some of
looks
them would be.
maxers?
I mean, they don't really care about like longevity and health.
Oh
So
yeah, no. Half of the guys there are gonna die at 50. I can tell you that much.
yeah, and like blue pillars find that to be like dangerously vain, you know, like dangerous levels of like looks obsession.
Vanity. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what do you think about the issue of a lot of people in the BP space or the looksmaxing community thinking that they're sub 5 or ugly when they're not, like body dysmorphia.
Um yeah, like I said earlier, I think a lot of people, myself included, fall into this fatalistic mindset that they want their looks to talk for them, right? So they may be like a 5 or a 6 in looks before, and then maybe they ascend to like a 7 or maybe even like a 8, but they still think that they're ugly because they're not getting female attention, but they think that just because they ascended a few points that women would just come up to them. And when they don't come up to them, they're like, "Oh, I'm still ugly. I'm still ugly." Like I still think in the vast majority of things, unless you're like Chico plus in looks, you're not gonna have people coming up to you. And a lot of people just think that they're ugly when in reality they've ascended to a proper threshold where they can talk to women and maybe ascend, but they unironically have to listen to Jerry Meek's advice and just take that first step, right? Like they have to like do things at a certain point. They can't have their looks just speak for them. Does that make
Mhm,
sense? They fall into like this whole mental seldom trap, but in reality, they're perfectly fine in terms of look. They just have to actually talk to people now, and at least try with basic game, which I still think is mostly cope. I think if you know how to talk to people, you can kind of net positive outcomes once you're at a certain looks threshold.
Sure. Like I quite like the phrase that you brought up. Is it letting their looks speak for themselves, or letting their looks do the talking? What was it?
Yeah, letting their looks do the talking because they think that like they get to like a certain looks level and they expect everyone to just come to them. But I still think they have to like. I think in the social in terms of society, it's always viewed as the man approaching the woman,
Hmm.
and I think I think even if you get to like a certain looks level, you still have to approach first, right? Like when I went from like a 2 to like a 4 in high school, I would just sit around. I remember texting somebody. I remember this verbatim. I said something along the lines of, "I expect girls to come to me because I'm slightly better looking now," which is completely delusional. I thought I was like a 5 or a 6 when in reality I was like a 4. But I did get girls that came up to me, but they were all like girls I wasn't really attracted to say the least. But
Hmm.
I think even if I was at even if I looks maxed, I still would need to talk to girls first in order for me to get into a relationship. I think for the vast majority of people, they should talk they should still learn how to talk to women and still read up on like basic game. Not to the level of like playing with fire or some cope where they're like, oh, you gotta learn game and have it be the basic backbone of what you do. But I still think you have to learn how to communicate with people. I think that's a completely independent step from looks maxing. I think they work best when in tandem rather than when you use one or the other and just depend on that solely. I think they work best when you use them both together. Like you have
Yeah.
to have decent speaking skills and you have to have decent looks. If you have one or the other, you're going to be screwed.
Well, Alex playing with fire. He promotes doing both, right? He encourages looks maxing and learning game, but learning game is just mostly that's the specialty of his channel. That's the focus of his channel. So he's gonna
Right.
go more in depth on that. But I have two things that I want to like say as a response. Well, first of all, have you seen Wheat Waffles' new live stream with Playing with Fire?
Yeah, I think I did a reaction video dedicated to that actually on my channel. The one with Jasmine and the psychologist that looks like Wheat Waffles' brother, but isn't his brother, like that one.
Yeah. Well, he was making the argument that okay, well, here's the part of the argument that I agree with. Um, that if you have girls who are giving you choosing signals, it's more efficient for you to capitalize on that rather than trying to game your way, you know, to success with girls who have no interest in you looks wise in the first place.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. I think
Yeah, but
yeah.
us oh, go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead, you go ahead.
But I think that he took where he went way too far was he claimed that game actually hurts your chances and that that game is completely like pointless and that trying to use game will actually hurt your chances. Like,
Well,
I don't know, man. That's just dumb to me.
he said verbatim that he thinks all game is just jestermaxing, which I don't think is necessarily right. Like I know I hate red pillars as much as the next guy, but I think that's inherently incorrect. I don't think game is necessarily jestermaxing. I think it can be jestermaxing at times, but I think he kind of strawmanned game as this whole thing of just making an ass of yourself in front of women just for attention, which it's really not. I think basic game is just like, you know, talking to them, asking them what their basic interests are and stuff like that. And you need to socialize. You can't just sit there and be like just I did this for weekends on end last year. I would just sit there in the bar and just wait for girls to come up to me. And sometimes it worked, but usually it didn't. Like I still think you have to approach people once you get to a certain looks threshold. I think that's where Wheat Waffles is wrong. Like he even contradicted himself in that live stream. He's like, I hate cold approaches. And then he gives an example where he cold approached some girl and he's like, I think you're attractive, blah 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 blah.
No, I don't think
And
he
I'm
said
like,
I hate cold approaches. I think he said that you don't need to use social skills. You don't need to use game.
no,
Or
no,
but
I
he but then he, like, you came up with an example of when he said something instead of something else because it was more like because it works better, which, isn't that game?
well, no, like, I think do you remember did you watch the whole live stream? Like, he gave an example where he's like he talks I think it was, like, 2/3 into the video, into the live stream, where he's like, "Oh, yeah, there's this one time where I was on vacation, and I saw this girl that I found really attractive," and he told his friend to basically fuck off, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna basically go up to this girl, and I'm gonna be like, oh, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh, I think you're attractive." And he basically used a game, whether he wants to admit it or not.
Yeah, he has this, like, three question system. He
Yeah,
asks,
I know.
"Are you single?" And then,
He
are you looking to, like, stay single or meet guys? And then, "Do you
yeah,
find me attractive enough to want to get to know me further?" Right? And, this is not the best game, but it is a form of game. Like, he's
yeah,
he's
that's what
literally
I didn't
figured
get.
out a plan of things to say in order to get laid. A plan of
Yeah,
things to say in order to get laid. That's game.
that's exactly what I'm saying. He contradicted himself in that stream. He's like, "I hate game," and then he gives an example of when he used a game, and I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I don't know. I'm not really friends with Wheat Waffles. I think you talked to him on stream once. Do you
Yes, I did.
yeah, does he normally act that way? I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, well, I don't know. I think it was kinda funny that he contradicted himself like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, just looking through the comments. Uh,
Oh, yeah, there was a second, thing I was gonna say about letting your looks do the talking. I think it's like a negative, consequence of people becoming black pilled.
uh,
'Cause a lot of people who get into the BP are already socially anxious, before, and what they need to do the most is to, step out of their comfort zone and, like, unironically put themselves out there and, to help, alleviate the social anxiety. But once they get black pilled, they they wanna let their looks do the talking. So they wanna go
yeah.
like it's kind of like a crutch. It's like, "Oh, I don't have to do the scary thing now of going out and stepping out of my comfort zone
Oh,
if
yeah.
I can do the easier thing of just letting my looks do the talking."
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's a huge pitfall. I think that's a
that's
terrible
that's what
pitfall to
people
fall into, and I'm guilty of it too. So, I disagree with that. I think even Rehab Room said that in one of his videos called "Ugly Women," where he's like, "Oh yeah, well you need to," or maybe it was a neurotypical video where he's like, "Oh, the fourth horseman or whatever." Like you still have to like know how to talk to people and stuff. You can't be like a robot. And I think a lot of people, especially on TikTok, I see this all the time where people are like unironically being like, "Oh, well, I need to just sit there and wait for girls to approach me." And when they don't approach, when they don't do anything, they're like, "Oh, I'm still ugly." And they're just like fall into this huge pit of dysmorphia, which is just terrible. Because now instead of, jester maxing and clowning themselves with no looks, now they're just doing the opposite where they're not talking at all. And they're just waiting for the girls to approach them. Now that they're like sixes. I think the vast majority of TikTokers and looksmaxers are on average like sixes. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
also seem to be taller than average, like, it's so common that they're over 6 foot.
Yeah, no. They're all just like these huge mental cells, and I think that's just as bad personally, and I think I'm a huge victim of this myself. I'm not saying I'm good looking at all. I'm not saying I'm a 6, but I think I've gotten to a point where I've like basically messed up my brain so much that I can't even talk to people. I kind of expect my looks to do all the talking, and that's terrible. Maybe I wouldn't even be here maybe if I just, went back to kind of being blue pilled again. Now that I've kind of ascended, but I don't know. I got no clue.
Mm, brutal.
Brother, it's over for Mendez. It is over.
uh, you can't stop a culprit from culping. Don't be
Dude,
a free agent in life.
I watched that video from you. It's way better than my rehab room invitation.
Oh, thanks. But
Yeah, no.
like my
Um,
accent sounds it just sounds off, like it's really obvious that it's not him.
yeah, no. Shoot.
Overton BP says the only way to get unblackpilled is to get a girlfriend.
Yeah, no, I agree
Um,
with that. Well, I mean, not necessarily.
yeah,
I feel like even if I was BP'd, even if I had a girlfriend, I'd still be somewhat BP'd. I've just been here so long that I can't undo it. I
yeah,
think it is kind of just a phase, but
the more
still,
experience Wheat Waffles got, the more black-pilled he became. But do you really think BP is mostly a phase for most people?
yeah, I think I hate to keep using rehab room videos for this, but there was a time I think there was a it was the one called "The Truth You Don't Want to Hear," where he's like, a lot of you guys are just here because you're frustrated, and eventually you will maybe ascend. And once you get a girlfriend and completely divorced, and you go back to watching Hammerhand streams, you'll see the truth. And I think a lot of people here are, myself included, just frustrated. I think it is going to be a phase. Um, I do think the vast majority of people will have a girlfriend at one point in their life. I mean, I think it's more likely than not, even you, even me, I think we'll have girlfriends eventually. I hope so. Um,
Yeah,
and I think for a time we'll kind of un-BP ourselves, but I mean, the truth always comes to collect, right? I think it'll come back to bite us in the ass, and we'll realize, the BP is always correct. Um,
yeah,
but I think that awareness to know that everything's based off of looks, you cannot take that away from me. I will always, no matter, even if I get a girlfriend who, like one of the girls who rejected me, if she comes back in 3 or 4 years, I'll I'll be like, you can't take this awareness from me. I know for a fact that you're only with me because you couldn't find anybody better, and you had to settle for me. And I still like you, uh, but basically, it's not a happy relationship. There's a level of there's a level of somebody settling, and there's a level of somebody kind of taking what they can get. It's not it's not happy. It's not happy for the vast majority of people. And that's what I was talking about earlier with those bloated normies you're talking about. I don't think they're happy either. I think you have to be like a Jeremy Meeks or a Chico to truly be happy in life, or just be like a Stacy as well. I think those are the truly happiest people when it comes to relationships because they can get basically whoever they want. That makes
mm.
sense.
Do you wonder if this is like an immature way of thinking?
Um,
Thinking that happiness, that pinnacle of happiness is like getting a lot of attention and going to parties and
yeah,
what
yeah,
about
for sure.
what boomers say about the satisfaction that you'll have from your family and, having kids?
So you mean like being in a relationship and having kids that'll make you happiest, or what do you mean by what boomers say?
Well, like, the source of happiness being, from the kids you have, and not about living a fast life, like, more parties and more, you know, Tinder hookups and stuff.
Yeah, like the fast-paced life mindset. Yeah, I definitely do think that's a phase. You see it all around you, right? Like you see all these normies going to parties, getting wasted, hooking up with each other, and you just think to yourself, "Damn, I want that. I want that more than anything." And it really gets to you. But there were even times in high school when I felt that way because everyone around me was, basically piping each other for lack of a better term. And I was like, "Damn, I want that."
Such a
And
brutal experience.
yeah, like it's rage inducing. And I think I think one day there will be a day when I do get into a relationship. I don't know how it's gonna end. I might get like divorce annihilated and lose all my assets and my kids. But I think there will be that brief time where I think to myself, damn, all that BP stuff was just a cope. And I do think it's a phase to some extent. I think we're just here because we're frustrated more than anything. I created this channel because I am frustrated. I was frustrated, but I still do think it's the truth. And while we may not be wishing for parties and that kind of stuff, I don't think the entirety of the BP is necessarily a phase. I think it's just a brutal truth that people don't want to admit to. That makes sense.
I think I think that they can coexist. Like seeing the
Exactly.
truth can be a phase.
Yeah. Turbo BP, I have a crazy proposition for you. What if I went to the restroom again? Would you get mad?
Uh, Man, I'm gonna have to pull out the strap, bro. Like, no, go ahead. I'm not gonna be
Oh,
mad.
thank God. Yeah, I apologize to all the 22 people watching this. This was a terrible idea, but this is for
It
science.
really like a terrible idea for no, the diuretics, not the stream, huh? Because I hope you're happy. You know, I hope we have a good time.
Oh yeah. No, I'm having a ton of fun right now.
A ton of fun, really fun. Well, I mean, for me, it's more like a mellow sense of fulfillment. You know, fun's like a roller coaster. Mr. Dow Jones says not all of us here are Mr. Dow Jones says not all of us are here for being frustrated. Some of us, like me and Rehab, have strong foundations. Yeah, I agree. That's like something I like about Rehab is that I think he has arrived at his beliefs based on logic and reasoning. And you know, a lot of blue pillars don't think that's the case, but I think that's the case, right? They think that a lot of people think Rehab is a crybaby. He's just like a negative guy, but you know, I've watched almost all his videos and I really do think that his convictions are backed up by reasoning, right? And his black pill beliefs are much more founded in logic than mine are. And I consider myself to be one of those guys who is here mainly because he's frustrated, you know, because I really haven't, you know, I get my statistics from Rehab Room, to be honest. Like, I haven't done much research in like the last several years about, you know, the dating market, human psychology, and everything. Like, I'm here because I feel like everyone but me gets laid. I'm here because I'm surrounded by sex havers, you know? And that's not a very logical way. That's not a very logical reason to be black pilled, you know? Like emotional black pill isn't really real black pill. Emotional black pill is just doomerism and negativity. Like to be truly black pilled, you have to arrive at your conclusions from logic, like I think Rehab Room does, right? You know, yo, chat, do you like Sabrina Carpenter's music? Because it's kind of rage fuel for me. Like, so many songs about the sex I wish I could have, but it's addicting. Like, her songs are so catchy. That's what I'm trying to do with, because I'm trying to be a black pill music producer like DBDR. I want to make music that is as catchy and addicting as the sexual songs that you hear on Spotify and, you know, but my songs will not be about sex, at least not from the normie perspective. So, you know, like I want to make songs that people dance to and like people like, jam to in the car, but they're about, they're not about the lyrical content will be quite different from most of the mainstream songs. So that's kind of the that's kind of what I'm going for as an artist.
Okay, I'm back.
So sorry, I should have taken my piss break at the same time as yours, but
Oh no. Oh no, no,
yeah,
no.
I'm gonna I'm gonna be back.
Oh god. I'd
I'm
be
also on a
here.
diuretic actually.
Oh, which one?
Spironolactone.
Oh, fun.
Not for lean maxing. Um, it's for something else.
I'm looking through the comments. Somebody said, "Did you hit a bong?" Is that you're talking to me? Or you're talking to somebody in the comments? Turbo BP. You go take your piss
Harris,
break.
yeah, Harris Brown said that I sounded baked.
You don't sound baked. You sound normal.
I don't know. Do people even sound different when they're baked?
Oh yeah, no. Like my homeboy BABP, like black pilled. I get on calls with him sometimes. He sounds hella baked when he's on those
Oh,
edibles.
all right. Yeah, I really gotta go, so I'll be back.
Go ahead. All right, I'm just gonna look at the comments. DVDR is back on his second channel. Yeah, I saw that. Uh, yeah, I don't think he's gonna come back because I think that DVDR doxer guy got him. But I don't know. I'm glad he's kind of semi back. Turbo, too scary to smoke weed. I don't know. I don't think he's the type to smoke weed either. I think he might be too scared as well. Let's see. Turbo BP has 10 times the better accent. Yeah, I agree. His video was much better than mine. Uh, do you have any nightmare roommates at college? Darth Hideous can replace. I wish Darth Hideous would come back, dude. I remember I watched his videos. Summer 23. I just binge his videos back to and from work and on the way back from my college classes. I do miss him. I hope he's happy wherever he is. His videos were like super like unfiltered. He didn't monetize his channel or anything like that. I do miss him. Hope he's happy. Hope he ascended with a single motherland whale. But I don't know.
One time I had a roommate who would like make his girlfriend moan and I could hear it. So,
Oh my god! Don't even get me started on that.
oh yeah, have you
Uh,
experienced that too? It was rage inducing, right?
I was on both sides of that. I remember my freshman year when I was a V, I would hear people upstairs moaning. It was terrible. It was so rage inducing. I remember I was on the other side of that because I had a girl over and I was, like, railing her, and she would, like, moan super loud. I wouldn't, like, induce the I guess I would induce the moaning because I would put my pee-pee in her, but, like, she would, like, moan super loud, and I remember my roommate Jake, who, he dropped out because he was addicted to Elden Ring. He would just sit in his room all day. He'd be like, "Dude, Dre, stop that. Get that bitch out of here." And I'm like, "Bro, come on." And he literally kicked both of us out. I'm like, "Dude, what the fuck?" But yeah, no, it's like he was, like, raging, bro. I don't know.
Bro, my
He's like,
roommates
"Dude."
and I barely ever interact. Like, I would prefer to have an adversarial relationship than no relationship. I just want
It
some
really does feel
action,
bad.
bro. Want some
I
ups
know.
and downs.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. I got lucky because my roommates were my friends from high school. Um,
Ooh, lucky.
yeah, but, like, they don't really talk to me, like, my roommate Ned, like, he knows about me, like, he knows the ins and outs about me because we were friends for 15 years, but there's days where he doesn't even talk to me, and it's so depressing to come back. He doesn't say anything, and I'm like, "Damn." And I always compare my friendship with him to how it's gonna be when I get a girlfriend, because eventually, if I do ascend and if I have a girlfriend, I'm terrified I'm gonna end up in one of those relationships where the girl just never talks to me, and she thinks of me as just, like, a burden on her. I don't know. Not looking forward to having that type of relationship, honestly.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm still jealous of you though, because you're not V.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's amazing. I'm not, like,
You're the
thrilled.
best day of your life.
Yeah, it was. The first day, I'm like, "Damn,
Yep.
did I really get this far? This is crazy." Like, I was terrified she would, like, pull off her mask and be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just pranking you, and it's actually a guy under there," or some shit. I was terrified something would go wrong because things have gone wrong in the past,
Mm,
but it actually happened, so I'm pretty happy about that.
yeah. What do you mean things have gone wrong in the past? I mean, if you don't want to share, it's all right.
Oh, with me? Let me think. Like you mean like nightmare, like semi hookups, that kind of stuff?
No, you said that like you were like glad that she didn't pull off a mask and reveal that she was a guy, you know. So
Because
did
I had
anything like
like,
that happen before?
well, no, nobody pulled out a mask and like, oh ho ho ho. It wasn't like a Scooby Doo moment, but I remember this one time. I remember this one time. Like it was like a month before. It was like a year ago today. Um, there was this girl, and I was trying to hook up with her. She was beautiful, like definitely my type, like pale skin, black hair, JBW, But like my point is, she was like definitely my type, like the pseudo goth girl, pseudo alt girl. And we were just talking to each other. We were like smoking cigarettes. I bought her a drink, whatever. And we were like both gonna go out, like we were both like walking out. I was like, "Oh, you wanna hook up?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." And oh my god, this shit still pisses me off. I still like pseudo cry about this stuff. But she got into her Uber, and I thought I would come with her, and she whispers to a guy, and the guy turns around to me, and he's like, "Oh, she doesn't want you, boss." And they both got into the Uber, and they drove off, and I just looked. I was just, like, staring off as the Uber drove off, and I was like, "Fuck,
Oh,
fuck." I was so mad. Like, that shit made me so angry, and I was terrified this would happen the first time I lost it. And
oh,
I don't know, I have PTSD from that because that there's nothing worse than, like, some white knight being like, "Oh, she doesn't want you." Like, that shit makes me more mad than when the girl says she doesn't want you. I don't know. Yeah, that
man.
shit, like I want to make a video dedicated to that, but again, I don't wanna, like, go too much into anecdotes
Yeah,
because
your stories will definitely be more BP than like Wheat Waffles' most black pill story.
no, dude, I legit, like, have I legit have nightmares over that kinda shit. Like, it was so bad. Like, that
Man,
shit
speaking of
devastated me.
like actual nightmares.
Yeah, I remember, like, this one time, I was dreaming about it. And actually, she actually came back with me, the same pseudo goth girl, and we were about to do it, and then she got up and she's like, "I don't wanna do this," and she walked out, and, like, I don't it's weird that I had a recurring dream about it, but yeah, no, that shit, like, definitely will haunt me, even on my deathbed. I was thinking about that shit. You should've gone ER. No, I don't believe in going ER. I think life is still worth living, even as a sub 5. I don't
Uh,
know, going ER is kinda crazy, but and
yeah,
that shit pissed me off. I'm still mad about that.
bro. I was at a Halloween party and
Uh-huh.
there was like a cute girl dressed up in like a sailor outfit. And
Oh,
then
wow.
there was this like 5'6" South Asian guy, right? He looked like Indian or like Pakistani. He's the
Huh.
see, and this is another like black pill contradiction because he's the type of guy that is like the go-to example of black pillars for the guy who doesn't get girls. But
Yeah.
I was just having like a casual conversation with the girl, and then that guy came up to me and says, "Oh, don't talk to her." And I was like, "Wait, why not? Is she your girlfriend or something?" And I didn't get it, right? But then like we were standing in line to well, like waiting I was waiting in line to go to the bathroom, and the girl and the guy just like go into one of the bedrooms, and like just
Oh,
closed the door. I'm like,
oh,
the fuck, bro, you just cucked me, man.
that would have that would have pissed me off just as much as my experience. Oh my god. Ugh, dude, yeah. That's another reason why like I think BPers are afraid to approach because there's just so many nightmare scenarios like this. Remember this one time some girl's like, "Oh, you have such beautiful eyes." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." And I was trying to like riz her up, and then she like walked away, and some other guy said, "Oh, sorry, dude. I don't want to be mean, but she has a girlfriend." I'm like, "Oh, damn." And I just walked away, and I felt like even though I was like semi drunk, I still felt like my face burning up. It was like there's nothing worse than like a white knight trying to like stop you. It just ugh. It just hurts even more, to be honest. I don't know. That kind of stuff is just so traumatizing, I feel like at times.
Yeah, it's it's brutal out there,
Oh yeah.
especially for sub five.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Man.
Man, but I'm so jealous of you, bro.
Of what? Losing my V card? Yeah. I mean, it really felt great. I was on cloud 9 for like a whole month.
Mm.
It no, I really do think getting a relationship, losing your virginity, like don't listen to all these copers who are like, "Oh, losing your virginity won't make you happy, bro." It made me so happy. I think back on it, and I'm like, thank God I'm not a virgin anymore. Like losing it to an actual girl who says yes to you, it's the best feeling in the world. Don't listen to anybody who says otherwise. They're lying to you. It means the world. It means so much. And all these people try to downplay it. Like it really if I was still a virgin today, I think I would be super depressed. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna blow my brains out, but I think I would be like super frustrated personally. It means everything. Like I don't subscribe to that thought that getting a relationship won't make you happy. It really
Yeah,
does. It really would
that's
make you
like that's
happy.
like
If I got a
sour
yeah,
grapes cope.
it really is a sour grapes cope. Like just because like there's always some boomer in like somebody's comment section who's like, "Oh, I didn't lose it till I was 37." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't care. I don't want it. What makes you think I want to be like you? I don't. I don't want to be anything like you." And they think it's some huge relief to know that 20 years from now you might get some single mother land whale. Like it doesn't mean anything at all. It wouldn't make me happy. It really would make me happy. And I'm glad I lost it at the age of 18 then versus 37.
Yeah.
It's one of the few
Meanwhile, I'm
achievements I
a
have.
20-year-old virgin.
Yeah, no, I'd hate to be you.
Oh yeah, when did you get your first kiss?
18. It was with a different girl, but that felt really good too. Um, but kisses don't mean that much. I've kissed maybe like 20 girls. It doesn't really mean anything.
Oh, fuck off. I did not
It doesn't
expect
mean
that.
it doesn't mean anything. Like I've kissed so many girls, but like it doesn't
Nah,
mean anything.
you're desensitized from the emotional death grip, man. Bro, appreciate, be grateful.
Yeah, it's like the whole alcohol thing. I really do compare it to alcohol. Like when I couldn't drink, it felt like every single drink I had, even every stupid Smirnoff, every vodka shot, it meant so much. But like once you have infinite kisses, once you have infinite sex, it doesn't you get desensitized to it, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I'm still very grateful for what I do have. I look back on it and I'm like kind of proud of myself, but
Yeah,
it's all
I'm
relative,
I'm
right?
very grateful that I was that I'm not kissless because it's totally plausible alternate scenario that I could still be kissless to this day. But
Oh
I'm
yeah.
so grateful and I'm so happy that I got my first kiss at 18. Um, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's like the greatest feeling in the world. Don't let anyone tell you it's not. It really is.
Yep.
You see, you're laughing about it because you think about it and you're like, damn, I did that.
Yeah,
It's an
dude, like I
achievement.
still think about it and it just makes me smile.
Damn. Trey, did you date down to do that? Uh, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like date down to kiss a girl, date down to boink a girl, or like you gotta be more specific. Trying to Oh, honestly, let me think about this. I've So for like the kisses I've gotten, all of them were actually like relatively attractive. I'm not trying to overrate it, but like they were all my looks. I'd say they're all my looks level or a bit above. Just because I don't think kisses mean that much. My first kiss was with a really like unattractive girl, I'll admit. But with there's just been so many that like they can't all be subhuman, right? Like some of them with like relatively attractive girls, and uh I didn't have to. I definitely do think I kind of quote unquote date down now, as in I'm looking for a girl that's like 3 or 4 in terms of looks, just because I can't afford to be picky. I can't expect some 8 out of 10 blonde Stacy sorority girl to go out with me. It's just not plausible with my genes. But I think I don't think all of them are necessarily worse than me in terms of looks. For when I lost my V card, like, I showed a picture because this girl added me on Snapchat, and I showed a picture of this girl to my roommate Ned, and he was like so mad. He was because he's like a 21-year-old KAHV because he doesn't touch grass, and ironically, and he was so mad. He was like, "Dude, this girl is so attractive." Blah blah blah. He was like getting mad at me. That girl was like a solid 5, I would say. She was like 5 or 6. She was better looking than me. Um, which I guess kind of disproves the BP. But at the same time, I don't think that girl would be proud to have me around in broad daylight. Like she wouldn't post pictures of me, I don't think. She'd be kind of embarrassed. So yeah, to answer your question, I don't think I always quote unquote date down, but there have been examples where I've kissed or had intercourse with a girl that's, or as Sweet Waffles would say, had quote unquote action with a girl less attractive than me.
Action.
Yeah, action. Yeah. Drayyythan is a PSL god confirmed.
Oh,
Definitely not. Definitely
I
not.
employed some strategies that led to primal action. Uh,
Oh, what a funny guy. I love Wheat Waffles. I love Wheat Waffles. He's the greatest. Man.
dude, like I'm such a this might be TMI, but like my roommates have probably heard me cooming.
Oh, thanks for
They all know I'm an incel, dude. Like this sucks.
or do they get girls? Do they boink girls?
Probably everyone has sex but me. I hear female voices, in the apartment all the time.
And they don't let you come out and enjoy with
Dude, I choose not to because I'm just too socially anxious. It's not really a point. I just go and stay high and go like, oh, what's your major? Where do you work? Oh, bro.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I can't. I don't want to be like Andrew Tate and be like, "Oh, depression isn't real," because I get it. Like social anxiety is like 100% real thing. Yeah, I could totally believe you. Like I got very lucky because both my roommates are like sub 5. Like I wouldn't say that. Jake is like a solid 6 before he moved out. He was just an example of wasted potential, honestly. Like with like Ned, yeah, it's kind of over for him. But I picked 2 guys who are bigger losers than me to room with just because I didn't want to deal with that. I would be traumatized if I had like Chad Light roommates who were like constantly getting girls.
Dude, I would love to room with women. I just don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. So I never
Oh
apply for
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%.
But if I was acting in my own self-interest, purely self-interested, I would want to be roommates with women.
That's
Just
yeah,
for
that's
the
actually
just for
what
the
you're saying.
fun. Even though they bring guys over and I feel like shit because I get cucked, you know, I just like it's easier to I don't know, I feel like I get a better experience with women.
I think I think it's definitely legit. Like that's how my parents met. They were both roommates. And then it just kind of happened, right? Because if you're
Oh,
with somebody of the opposite gender, yeah, they're still together. Um, but it
mhm.
can also go really bad because I have like one of my friends who's like he's like a high tier normie. He's like well above average. He's like 5'11", generic white guy, and he roomed with the girl that he was attracted to, and she brought over some guy, and it was like the I can't even imagine how traumatizing that must be to hear a girl that you're attracted to having intercourse or having primal action in the room next to you with thin walls. Oh my god, I would be traumatized. I would be legit traumatized. I legit have nightmares about that kind of stuff. That is traumatizing. So I think it really depends, right? Like it would just be traumatizing, but could work out if you're like relatively socially conscious,
Mhm.
and if you could actually pull them, um,
Yeah. Um, that's cool. I think we shared a quite I think we shared a fair amount of personal anecdotes.
right.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, not really. Um, it's up to you. If you're done, then I'm done too. But if you want to stick
Yeah.
around, I'm cool with that.
Um, look, I'm lonely and I'm kind of addicted to you, so like
Oh,
I'd like to stick around for emotional reasons, but there's not much else I had in mind in particular to discuss on the stream.
all right, I got you.
Maybe we can like answer some questions from the chat.
Okay, yeah, I'm down. I'm down for whatever. Um,
You know what? Fuck it. I said we're not going to talk about this on the stream,
okay.
but I have boobs.
Oh, that's nice. That's cool. Are you on HRT?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can hear the awkwardness in your voice. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
It's I'm very happy for you. I'm glad you do you feel happier as when you're,
I think it's a double-edged sword because I like my body more, but I'm
uh
also like more like mentally like fixated on what I don't have because like I start to get much more envious of other women's features.
oh,
So I'm like more insecure about the size of my jaw and like my brow ridge and everything.
but those are all masculine features. You mean
Yeah,
like,
my narrow hips.
oh,
It
yeah.
sucks. Like, look, it ties back into the work ethic thing because I have such shit discipline. Like, it's gonna take forever for me to save up enough money to afford the surgeries I want to have.
Yeah, no, I get that. Um, so your plan is to fully uh transform and roll out. Is that your plan? You
Yeah.
wanna
Would you ever be with a trans girl?
N- No, no, I don't think so.
Oof.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
there
not
goes my shot. Look,
Oh,
I'm
you don't even know what I look like. You don't
Bro,
even know
I'm
what I
looking
look
for
like.
a boyfriend in the black pill community because I can't
Uh,
connect with normies and I want a black pilled boyfriend.
like that was uh damn, I guess I finally got asked out, but I'm gonna have to decline. I'm ugly anyways. You wouldn't want me. I look like a curry ogre.
Well, those girls probably didn't think that.
Yeah, I guess.
Which brings us to Cryotic's comment. Cryotic said, Draythan, what scenario did you get kisses? Were these dates or clubbing or parties?
Clubbing. It was all clubbing.
Oh,
I went
wait, did
on
you like kiss them at the club?
Yeah, which again doesn't mean much. It's just like crazy fun, alcohol fueled fun,
That's
felt like
I'm
drug
jealous.
fueled
I've never
fun.
been to the club.
You've never been to you gotta at least try it. I mean, especially if you're a girl, they have like girl only lines anyways.
I don't
It'd be
have
like
anyone to
easy.
go with, bro. I'm not gonna go alone. Like,
I mean, I've done that. I prefer to go with friends, but yeah, I've gone alone. Usually people
I
just feel bad
cannot
for you.
make
It doesn't
friends.
really work.
I cannot make friends, and I don't want to go alone because of safety.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's yeah. I get that. Uh, yeah, no, it must be tough being a woman out at night.
Um, yeah. Well,
Dude,
the other day I couldn't open like a bottle of like soda, so
guess
yeah,
that I guess the HRT has downsides.
brutal, man.
Uh, well, I went in the opposite direction. I went on chatifying hormones. I did like a cycle of test and NFR, and it kind of worked. I got a video dedicated to that, but people are gonna be like, "Oh, NFR's for women," but
Universal what?
NFR's for women. That's what they say. They're like, "Oh, it's for women," but I think it's legit if you have it with test.
Do
But yeah,
you
no, I've been Chad maxing, I guess.
are you a gym maxer?
Yeah. How much do you bench on your voids? Okay, you're gonna make fun of me for this. You're gonna make fun of me for this, but It's like 190. It's not very much, not very
Well, that's
much at
not
all.
bad. Like, the most I've ever benched was 175.
Alright, well, it's not bad, but, like, I know all those, like, bloated ogres, like Sam Slick would be like, "Oh, I bench 490 with my PP." It's like, "Okay, whatever, man. Go back to the corner and keep benching, bro. I don't give a shit." Like, I don't know. I think it's a massive cope, but yeah. I don't know. 190 isn't, like, impressive. That was at my peak. Now I'm, like, skinny again, so it's, like, 150 maybe.
Mhm. Mogs me.
I know. Yeah, no, the last to answer that cryotic guy's question, the last time I went on a date was, like I remember it was senior year of high school. Some girl came up to me at prom. It was after the fact too. Like, come on, man. Like she came to after prom. She's like, "Oh, you want to go on a date with me?" And I'm like, da 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 da, because she was like a 3 out of 10. I'm like, sure. And I guess we went on one date, and then she was like, "Oh, we didn't have good chemistry, blah blah blah," or some dumb shit like that. And I was like, "Come on." But yeah, no, I don't think I've been on a date since. So it's been a minute since I've dated somebody, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
know.
you're basically like a normie to me now.
How much was the yeah, no, I'd say I'm like a failed normie, right? Like, I think like a normie, I act like a normie, but I'll never be a normie. That's the issue. How much wait, I saw something kinda interesting. Or was it how I did oxide so yeah, okay, you did NFR, I'm 2. How much was the ML on the test cycle, Dre? Dude, let me see. I cycled it. This was really dumb. This was the stupidest thing you could do, but I never kept it consistent. I would just take the needle. I would just put in whatever. But I think on average, I would say I was. I'm trying to check my notes because I try to keep basic notes. It was super low. I think it was like 300 mg a week. It was super low, and then like maybe 50 mg NFR. It was like super duper low, but yeah, it wasn't I didn't wanna mess up my hormones that much, and I did get gyno from it, so
Oh, you
I
got
don't think it
gyno
was worth
from
it. Yeah, so I guess both of us have boobs now, but
it? Ooh.
I don't know. It was kinda funny because I was, like, having sex with a girl, and she grabbed my chest, and then, like, it hurt because I had gyno, and I was like, "Damn, I have gyno." That's kinda how I
Gotta
figured out because it
casually
hurt.
mog me, man.
I don't know.
Oh, one time I was having sex with a girl and fucking
Yo, I don't know. It's not a good life. I wouldn't say the life I have is good, but I think it's better than most BPers, which I'm kinda grateful for. I don't know.
mhm. I mean, I think now I relate more to like the forever alone Reddit community than I do to the incel community.
That's valid. I think those people are much more normal, right? Because if you go to, like, the forums, they're all like, "Oh, we should do blah, 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 and
Yeah,
do all these
it's
terrible
also
things." It
because
just gets
like
annoying. What?
oh, sorry. But I was saying like it's also because incels are like primarily focused on the dating and sex and relationships side. Whereas I'm just like lonely and frustrated in general.
Yeah, no. It's like I think it really just does boil down to anger rather than all these different philosophies. Like, the BP itself was created in reaction to frustration with with life in general, because all these normal things like relationships and stuff, that should be normal, and yet
Mhm.
it's not, so it's just, like, rage inducing, I guess.
Yeah.
And somebody said, "This guy is so enjoying his bragging." Listen, I don't think like I said, I don't think I guess in comparison to, like, other people here, it's not it might be, like, insane, it might be, like, a whole other world, but it really is just scraps at the end of the day. Like, I don't think the life I live is amazing. It's very lonely. There's days where I go without talking to anybody at all. I'm very grateful for the few things I do have, and I do pull from those experiences a lot, but I'm not some giga chad like you think I am. I just got kinda lucky, and I don't think my life's gonna be great. I don't think it's gonna end up great, but yeah. It's not the flex you think it is what I'm saying. It's not bragging, bro. Okay, well, I'll stop with all the stories then if
I
it
mean,
makes you that mad.
I thought we
My bad,
like
G.
personal chat sesh because
Yeah, my
okay, what's the best way to find out if someone is interested in you without directly asking them?
I think the frequency in which they contact you and the in-depthness of what they ask you is important. Like if
Mm,
they ask you every day and they're like if they ask you like these small minuscule questions that shouldn't be important, um, these small things that shouldn't be important. Like let's say for instance, oh god, I don't wanna say this because it's gonna be braggy and then Kamala Harris Brown's gonna be like, "Oh, you're bragging, bro." Ugh, sorry, Harris Brown, you're gonna have to close your ears for this. But there was this time where like this like Glenn Will was like semi interested in me, right? And again, it didn't work out, right? Like it never worked out. I asked her out to prom and she's like, no. And I'm like, come on. But it was very obvious she was interested in me. Like she would tell people that she was before I figured it out. And she would just ask me like these very pointless questions that she could easily Google online. And she would text me like 3 or 4 times a day, and, like, that's very evident that somebody's interested in you. I think if somebody asks you all these pointless questions, if they make a point to remember things that you told them 1 or 2 times, um, that's a good indicator that they're interested in you. Because I don't think normal people like, most normies don't give you the time of the day. Like, it's like we reset our conversation every time we talk to each other, and like with this one girl, she would like bring up things that I don't even remember saying to her. I told her like months ago. She'd be like, "Oh, did you get blah 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 fixed?" I'm like, "How do you remember that?" I don't even remember that. So I think that's a very good indicator. And then it turned out she did like me. That's why she texted me all those times. But then when I went to go ask her out, she was like, "Oh no, I'm going with some Gigo Chad or some shit." And I was like, "Oh come on." So I got cucked. But yeah, that's my whole point. Like I think that's the best indicator is if they ask you all these pointless questions and stuff like that. They actually take interest in your life, as blue pilled as it sounds.
mhm.
No.
All right, that's a tip I'll keep in mind. Thank you.
Yep.
Um, okay, so I hang out with this sub 5 guy who uh approached me because he thought I was a girl, but we still hang
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah.
well, he says that like he's into Asian girls and he wouldn't mind putting his PP in
Oh,
a non-female human.
non-biological female.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't feel like he wants me though. I mean, I wasn't I found him like actually like a bit repulsive when he first approached me, but he's starting to grow on me and I find him a bit cute now. But
Oh.
yeah, the looks is still an issue, brutally.
Oh, so you're repulsed by his looks is what you're saying?
I mean, not anymore. I found him a little bit repulsive. Like repulsion is just kind of like a strong word by itself. I mean, I found him like negative attractiveness at first, but now he's like kind of like neutral. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of desperate, but I don't feel like he wants me.
He's just, flirting with you, I guess?
He's not flirting with me. He just like sees me as a friend.
Damn.
Rejected by a sub 5
That
male.
is brutal. I don't know,
Dude,
I
like
think
I went to his house and nothing happened.
damn. Well, actually, no, I guess you would be the girl in this situation, so I guess I would expect him to make the first move. I'm thinking. I don't know, I think now that you're a girl, I think you should at least try, right? Because I think if most girls at least make that first step, like Jeremy Meeks told them to, uh, I think you'd have more success. There's got to be at least somebody, right? Like every oofy doofy will eventually succumb at one point, right?
Mm,
I think you should at least try with multiple guys. I think it's very hard for guys to say no because we don't have many options.
Oh, well, I need to answer Mr. Dow Jones. Yes, I am an Asian. I am of East Asian descent.
What is this LARPing? What's that? Are you saying I'm LARPing or
They're saying
Trevor's
this. They're
LARPing?
saying I'm not really trans.
Oh, Harris Brown says the LARP is detailed AF. I don't know who this is. Who this is meant to be? Are you saying I'm LARPing or?
They're saying I'm LARPing.
Oh, I don't
Dude, like
know.
the other day, like I cried because a straight man wouldn't hug me.
Damn, it's been over a month of LARPing. Is this a LARP? I don't know.
It's not a LARP.
Because I drink lots of vodka Red Bull. Real bro, vodka Red Bull slaps. Vodka Red Bull is the best drink of all time. If I
Nah,
could
people
replace every,
telling me about that
if
shit, man.
I
But
could
like,
replace every water fountain with a vodka Red Bull fountain, I would totally do so, 100%.
bro, I don't even get invited to parties.
Yeah, neither do I.
Where do you get the vodka Red Bull from?
The bar,
The bar.
yeah,
But you're
can't
I
not
don't
invite me to a bar. It's an establishment. That's like saying you're not getting invited to the local
no, no,
bistro.
no. I mean, let's not talk. Okay, look, we're not gonna I'm not gonna ask you to confess to, illegalities here. So let's move on to a different topic.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, I got you. Da, 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 da. Right, SJW, maxing, turbo, BP. I don't know. Gin and tonic.
I mean, you already confessed to taking steroids. Isn't that illegal?
Uh, anyways,
You don't fear the feds a bit.
I feel like more dates, more plates, or whatever. I feel like he lives in the U.S. and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna. Well, I already pissed all the steroids out, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, lying is not a crime, so
Yeah, no, no, no. I don't do roids. I live
yeah,
in I live in the UK.
it's a LARP.
Yeah, it's a LARP.
Dude, like my whole body craves men, but I don't want to have primal action because I don't have a vagina and I only want it in the vagina, you know. So,
Ah,
yep, that's why I'm an incel. Like it's so frustrating. It is suffering.
yeah. Well, that's really unfortunate, man.
Hmm.
That's tough.
Yep.
Da, da, da.
Oh yeah, chat. If any of you guys are down to um ascend,
Oh
then
my god.
yeah,
I don't know,
might
man. If there's yeah,
just hit me up on Discord.
I don't know. I'm hoping. What if I got massive like think before you sleep, and then some amazing hot e girl, goth girl was like, oh, I love you, Dre, and then she finally I don't know asked me out. That'd be kind of crazy, bro.
Yeah, it would.
That would be dope. Chat, if you could find me an attractive goth girl, I will reveal my face. Like an actually attractive girl that flies over here and dates me, I will reveal my face. Here you go. Trey should post his face like the never give up Swedish guy. That actually would be kind of a basic. That would be a legit strat. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe one day, if I get to 2 million subscribers, I will post my face. Or if I get a hot e girl, there you go. He, I'm attractive. Goth. Okay, Kamala Harris Brown. All right, all right. Um, I don't know. Like an actual. I don't know. I'm thinking about this.
Bro, my boobs are getting kind of big.
Oh my god. Okay. Uh, dude, I'm a sub 5 and I'm getting uncomfortable. Drayyythan, Trump, or Kamala. Okay, this is dude. I didn't even register to vote. I'm gonna get crucified for saying this because it's my civic duty or whatever. I didn't even register to vote. Um, but if I had to pick, that's hard. I hate Kamala Harris like so much. Like Kamala Harris is like the worst thing to ever exist. And Trump is extremely annoying too. Like the way Trump and all his followers type just annoys me. They all type in like all caps and they all just type like complete boomers. But oh god, I hate to be that guy, but I genuinely cannot pick. Like both of them are just so insufferable. I would I don't know. Why can't we have like Mitt Romney or something back? I don't know. Trump Max Republican blondes. Hell, even Obama would have been a better pick than either of these guys. Yeah, it doesn't matter. No one cares about politics. Real, real. Vivek Ramaswamy maxing, yeah, legit, legit. I vote for Trump bigly. Yeah, that's very. I would say politically, I would lean like slightly right, but like I'm not like extreme at all. Like most of my friends, especially like the women I talk to, are like all leftists, and they kind of like annoy me. But I don't think any less of them. Unless it's a goth girl, I don't really care what they have to say.
Is that you have a thing for goth girls?
Okay, well look at all my videos. Like every time I use like an example of a girl, I always like get like a goth girl and I just like put that in there. So yeah, I would
Yeah.
say so.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try to be a goth girl on Halloween if I get invited to
What?
something. Um, if I don't get invited to something as usual, then I'm gonna be very, very sad and very lonely. Yeah. Being alone on Halloween night is such a DBDR trait.
Real dude. Like I don't even want to go out. Like I work on Halloween night just because I can't stand like missing out on all this stuff. Like I remember my freshman year of Halloween, I bought a costume and I would just walk outside with the costume because I wanted to feel like I'd fit in. It was like the most pathetic thing in the world. But I just wanted to feel like I fit in. And
Bro,
because like nobody invited me to
we're
anything.
walking down the street, dude.
What?
Imagine like just walking down the street in this like dinosaur inflatable costume.
Oh damn. I don't know about that. I think those are like the massive. Those are like the jester maxing costumes, like the
Yeah.
the the unwieldy dinosaur costumes. That's like the most jester maxing that you could do. What do you think of cold approaching? I think cold approaching is fucking pointless. Unless you're at like a bar or a club, it's completely pointless. It's so dumb. I remember cold approaching this girl in the library that I had like a huge crush on, and she got like visibly mad, and that was the whole thing. That was the whole ass thing.
Wait,
So
but you said you got your kisses in clubs, so they weren't
yeah.
cold approaches?
Well, no, they approached me,
Oh,
but
oh, whoa, wait, bro. That is astounding given that you claim to be a sub 5.
like I think I'm like in this weird uncanny valley where it's like I'm like I look like an alien, right? I like weird, but like it's not like they just like talk to me. I'd be like, oh, you want to like go back to my place? I'd be like, no, and then I don't know. We just kind of talk, and then they'd like kiss me or something, and then we just never cross paths again. Like it's not like I never claimed to be like I never claimed to be like this terrible like abomination from hell. I'm not like on the level of DBDR or rehab. I don't get shafted in life that badly, but like it's not like the life I have is not a good life. It's not a good life at all, but it's better than like I'd say a good amount of people in this community. I don't know. It's all relative. A PSL Draythan, holy brag,
Yeah,
an
dude.
alien with a strong jawline. Yeah, I guess.
I cold approached, and that's how I got my first kiss. It happened like days after the approach, though.
Really?
Yeah, cold approaching was worth it for me.
Maybe I should do that. Like maybe I should just go out tonight and then go and approach somebody. I'm just too scared. I have PTSD from that whole Uber thing where the guy
Oh,
was like, "Oh, they don't want you, boss." Oh my god, that makes me so mad.
yeah.
Ugh,
I mean, I'm in this like in between zone now because I can't like get women, but um,
can't get
man,
men either.
yep, no one wants
Uh,
me. I'm like the ultimate true cell at this point.
yeah, no, and I feel for you. Like, that's bad. Very unfortunate.
Mhm.
Uh, VP. How tall are you? I don't know. Dre has supreme gentleman Riz for real, no cap. No, I want I want to get so big that like a TikTok goth girl comes to my channel and she's like, "Oh, you want to date?" That's my goal. That's my goal. I need to get massive and status max on YouTube, and I'll finally ascend. That is my end game. So smash that like button, subscribe to my channel if you're not, and I might ascend. I might ascend. Ugh, just shrunk 5'6". Ooh, that's rough. It's unfortunate.
Nah, bro, if I was 6 foot, I would like rope because I don't want to be too tall.
Yeah, no, like I know this one 6 foot girl in my class, and I'm like scared of her. She scares me, and I want to talk to her. Divorce hammer hand thing. 3 meal swipes a day. I wonder what that's like going to college when you're 24 years old. Like I skipped a year in like some of my classes, and I'm like one of the younger people in my class. I sometimes wonder how life would be different if I was a bit older than everyone else. I feel like I would get along better because I'd be like more physically and mentally mature. But I don't know. I have no idea. Makes me wonder.
Yeah, we can do a few more questions in the chat, and I feel like it's about time to wrap it up.
All right, that's cool. I'm totally cool with that. Sorry, Dre, my Discord got restricted for 2 days. Come on, dude. Well, what did you do? What did you do, man? BABP. BABP is the only guy I would consider in the circle to be like my actual friend. Like I would legit hang out with BABP. Like he's a real one. Coolest guy ever.
Meanwhile, I'm like begging for guys in Discord.
Well, we could be friends too. I just don't want to like.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
that's cool.
yeah
I'll just hold I'll just, use self-control and discipline and you know,
yeah. Are you guys doing this again? Please make a podcast. Turbo and Dre. Who are your favorite BP channels? Face and LMS easily, without a
hey,
doubt.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, said some very harsh things. Damn, that's terrible, man. It's rough.
Billionaire Simulator. Why don't you do Grinder Turbo BP?
Well, he's a girl, so when we're oh, my bad, my bad. She's a girl. Dre, I think two
I don't
points.
care what pronoun you use. I mean, I
Okay.
tell that to people in real life that I don't care because if I tell them to call me she, then it doesn't mean anything, right? But if I tell
Yeah.
them you can call me whatever you want, and they just decide to call me she, then I'm like, yes, I won. We made it, you know? So that's why. But I don't do Grinder because I mean I just don't want to do online. Like it's like an ego thing. And also, like I said before, I only want like vaginal sex. So
Well,
uh,
you also yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, that's rough. Was the I remember I asked you this in your Discord chat. Um, was like the shift to wait, were you always attracted to both men and women, or was it like a is it like
Uh,
a thing that I don't know?
well, the onset of like I started being attracted to women like really, really early, like I don't know, like first grade, I guess. And
Yeah.
I started being attracted to men around like like well, boys, but fourth grade around that time. Like, but after that, like I always have been bi, but HRT shifted my sexuality to be like more attracted to men and less attracted to women.
I see. I don't know. It's like it's very fascinating. I don't know, like I always think about like those people that transform and roll out, and I'm like, do they start out being attracted to both genders, or did something switch in their mind once they couldn't pull girls? It's very complicated, and I don't have the answers, and I don't have anything against those types of people, but I'm very curious. Um, I don't know. The only bi I am is bipolar, so I can't really
Ooh.
comment on that. Uh,
Black Jesus Christ says you two would make a great podcast. Thanks for
yeah,
the compliment and advice.
dude, yeah, BU, BKBP, and like maybe one other guy would be like legit. Maybe Clown Town, maybe Clown Town. I think that'd
Oh
be
shit,
kind of sick.
Clowntown. I love Clowntown.
I love Clown Town too.
Well,
Drayyythan,
not
would you recommend dating apps? Fuck no, absolutely not. I got like a few matches, talked to them, nothing happened. Huge waste of time. Huge waste of time. Completely pointless. Uh, bipolar Chad, no, definitely not. Daily 7, complete with Hammerhand. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be so funny. But yeah,
all
no.
roads lead to Hammerhand. All roads truly do lead to Hammerhand.
But yeah, let me know when you're ready to wrap things up. I might go stare at a wall at the bar and pretend like I'm doing something, but
You're gonna hit the bar after this?
maybe, I don't know.
That's rad. That life
Rad.
log, man. I wish I could go to the bar with you. I wish I had
Yeah.
a wingman like
Oh
DBDR's
my
wingman.
god. I feel
We
like
could go to the
Wingman
strip
actually.
club.
Oh my god. Oh, dude, I have a story about the strip club. That's for a dedicated video on my channel. That was the whole thing. End up with me End up with me in the psychiatric ward. That was the whole thing.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm ready to wrap it up when you are.
Yeah, I'm ready to
Say the
wrap.
word.
Yeah, let's end the stream right about now.
All right.
All
Chat
right.
then. Strip
Bye-bye.
club.
See you
All
in the
right.
next streamio. Goodbye, guys.
Streamio. Adios. Good call. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye bye.